I'm watching is a live, so yay, we're alive. That was a weird way to start the video. But you know what, let's keep going with that. While I was waiting for the video to, well, not to start because I'm the one starting it, but waiting for the exact moment, like 2 o'clock to start it, I was just thinking, and I was thinking about like, I still pretty much have the same amount of clothes that I did when I was traveling. Obviously, they've changed since then, especially when I went to visit my wife last year to get married. She insisted that I, you know, get rid of the old clothes that I had when I was traveling and get some new ones. Anyway, point is, most of my clothes now fit in a single backpack, as they did when I was traveling, which is why you see me wearing a lot of the same clothes in the videos that I make, which is not a big deal. Like, I don't care about clothes. If I'm alone, like, yeah, I can wear the same shirt for a couple of days. It really doesn't matter. It just seems much more apparent because I'm making videos every day. And I'm like, oh wait, I wore this shirt yesterday, so I can't wear the same shirt in this video because then there'll be 2 videos in a row where I'm wearing the exact same shirt. And then the still frame for the video is going to look exactly the same. That's going to confuse people. So yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking before I started the live, so I thought I'd check. Anyway, let's get into it. So same as usual, let me give a quick overview of how this works. So since we're live, if you have any questions, please go ahead, pop them in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and answer. If you can't attend the live for some reason, because either you're busy or you're in a different time zone, it's the middle of the night where you are, you can come back and watch later and post your questions on the video. And 3 days after the live, I come back and I answer all those questions. That way, anyone who has a question can get it answered. Before we get to that portion, I'd just like to kind of, express my gratitude. At this point, it's been 19 months, so we've officially made it past the 1.5-year mark. And it kind of blows my mind. It's pretty cool because if you've been following for a while, especially if you saw the first few videos, you know that in the beginning when I was diagnosed, my oncologist told me, your odds of making it to 5 years are about 5%. Oh wait, was it 10%? Anyway, very, very low. Sorry, I forget. Because I asked also for 10 years and the answer for that was different. But point is, there's only 3.5 years left before we get to that 5-year mark. And I know in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't matter. I just like to have these milestones kind of, I don't know, keeps me motivated, gives me something to aim for. So yeah, 3.5 years left. Not that I'm going to give up after, but yeah. Before I, express my gratitude and everything like I normally do, I just realized there's a few milestones coming up and I thought I'd share them. And I did write them down simply because this is a live. And if I forget one of them, I can't just be like, oh, well, let me just restart the video. I can't really restart the live. So just to make sure, I wrote them down. So here's a couple milestones coming up. First one, we're a couple videos away from getting to the 600 video mark, which is kind of impressive, honestly. Okay, sure, I did a lot of shorts when I was traveling. There's probably like maybe 100 of those, but still, like, even if you take those out, it's still like around 500 videos, which is still pretty impressive. I mean, I had no goal in mind when I started this. I, however, did not really think I would get to that point. Speaking of another one that's really cool, is if things keep going the way they're going, you never know. But within the next month, maybe 2, depending on how many views we get, we should be reaching the 1 million total channel views. Now, to me, that just blows my mind. Obviously, there's other channels who get millions and millions of views for a single video. So in comparison, 1 million views for the total channel is nothing. But to me, it still kind of blows my mind. I'm just like, wow, that's a cool milestone. Next one is, assuming that, lately the last week and a half, the videos seem to be getting a lot more views. Not quite sure why. So if it keeps going like that, I'm expecting within the next month or 2 to get to the 5,000 subscriber mark, which is once again something that I never really expected to happen. When I started this, it was just about me sharing my story when I was traveling and everything. Eventually it transitioned to, me going through cancer and everything. And I never really focused on the subscriber count. That was never really a goal, but it's just a really cool milestone to be able to hit. So looking forward to that. And final goal, or final milestone, sorry, is slightly related, but also slightly unrelated. It's regarding the GoFundMe that my friend created for me back when I was first diagnosed. And she set $10,000 as the goal for that. And, back then I was like, there's no way we'll ever get to that point. I didn't even think anyone would donate, like, at all. And the fact that we're getting relatively close to that $10,000 mark, it blows my mind. It makes me feel incredibly grateful. And that's the reason why I shared all these upcoming milestones, just to let you know, like, how grateful I am, because none of this would be possible without you. Without every single one of you who watches, who likes, who subscribes, who shares the videos, who donated to the GoFundMe, like whatever it is you do, however it is you interact, I very, very much appreciate it, and none of this would be possible without you. Plus, I mentioned this in one of my previous videos, like it does have a big impact on me to know that there's this community of people who mostly care about me. Sure, there's a couple trolls, but that's normal. It's online. It's part of life. But it's just, it means a lot to me to know that there's all these people who are, either entertained by me or motivated by me or cheering me on or praying for me or whatever it is. It's just like, it kind of like, I don't want to say it makes me feel special, because it's not really about me. It's like, it doesn't matter how I feel, but it's like, it makes me feel grateful to be able to have all of you there to support me as I'm going through this. So I want to take the time to say thank you, and that I just love you all and I appreciate you very, very much. All right, I think we're done. We can officially get into the comments. So let me scroll back to the very top and start answering those. Hope you are doing good today. My question is, why do you not have an oxygen during the night? Simply because it was never offered to me. And I also do have the Ventolin pump. I'm hoping they're going to give me a stronger one, or not necessarily stronger, but one that lasts longer, because at this point, like, this does help. But when I take it, it usually lasts for a couple hours only. And it doesn't fully get rid of it. It just kind of helps breathe better. And the thing is, I'm like limited to a certain amount of puffs that I can take every day. So it's not like I can just take it like whenever I want. I need to make sure that I, take it when it's intense enough that it's worth it, but that I don't waste it, if that makes sense. And, another thing is, like, first of all, I don't know how oxygen tanks work, how much it costs. I'm assuming it's more than just like a little pump like this. And as you know, my budget is limited. And I don't know, in a way, like, maybe that's just me being stubborn, but it kind of feels like once you get to that point of needing an oxygen tank, it's like, yeah, okay, you crossed a new milestone. And I don't know, it's just a milestone I don't think I'm quite ready to cross yet. If ever it comes to that, it'll come to that. Whatever is meant to happen will happen. That's okay. But for now, I'm still trying to avoid it. All right. Someone saying hi from Houston. Someone saying, hoping they're good, that I'm good. Yes, I am. Thank you very much. Looking good. Well, thank you. Honestly, my hair is getting a little long. I'm not really sure what to do with it. And I probably need to trim my beard, but I'll take the compliment. Thank you. Can you say what your very first symptoms were? Coughing. I was working in construction and I started coughing, and I'm like, oh, it's no big deal. We're doing the demolition of a bathroom. There's dust in the air. It's normal. It'll pass in a couple days. It did not pass in a couple days. I'm like, okay, it'll pass in a couple weeks. It did not pass in a couple weeks, nor a couple months, And eventually it got to the point where, mostly to reassure my then girlfriend to not worry that it was no big deal, I went to get an x-ray. And that's when turns out that it was a big deal. And it was a very good thing that I went. And obviously coughing sucks, and I've been coughing pretty much most of the time for the last 18 months, well, 19 months now since I've been diagnosed. And it sucks, but at the same time, I can't help but feel grateful because without that cough, I wouldn't have gone to get that x-ray. They wouldn't have discovered the cancer. And given how advanced it was at that point, me not discovering it right then could have potentially meant that I would be dead by now. So, as much as coughing sucks, I am grateful for it. Are you eating today? Yes, I mean, I eat every day. It's just eating is not enjoyable at this point. It's a constant struggle. I'm definitely not eating as much as I would like, as much as I should. And I feel like in the last month, I've lost a little weight. It's hard to tell. I'll see next week when I go see my oncologist and they weigh me. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if I lost a little weight. If you've seen one of my last videos, I did try the weed gummies that my friend bought for me. Apparently it was way too intense for me. So I'm gonna have to try it again because it did help for the appetite. So I'm thinking like, all right, instead of taking like one full one, I'll take like a quarter of one. Make sure it's on a full stomach so it doesn't hit me as hard, and see if that helps with the appetite. So it's like my goal would be to find a level where it's like, ideally I don't feel any of the highness at all because that really, really, really sucked. I did not enjoy that at all, while still getting the benefit of the boost in hunger. So it's something I need to kind of play around with. Not something I'm looking forward to because if I misjudge the dosage again, I could, end up getting super high again, and that really sucked, and I don't want to go through that again. But, you got to do what you got to do. Hey, handsome. Well, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. Not sure how my wife would feel about that, but I'll still take it as a compliment. Looking good. Thank you very much. Nice to see you too. Someone's saying hello from Atlanta. All right, so this is a pretty long one. So your symptoms are cancer related, but they remind me of sleep apnea. I'm assuming sleep apnea. It's like all in one word and the spelling's a little off, but that's what it seems to be spelling. And for that, there are great tools to help during the night to have, yeah, okay, that would make sense, the apnea, yeah. Yeah, I'll be oxygenated. Yeah, no, I do have a friend who has sleep apnea, and he has that, that machine, the mask you put on at night and pumps oxygen in and makes sure you never stop breathing and stuff like that. The thing is, like, I don't think it's sleep apnea. Like, I do realize that a lot of the symptoms are probably similar. But, I mean, obviously it's related to the cancer because I've never had any breathing issues in the past, aside from when I was young and I had asthma. But, like, that's a specific condition. So, I don't think it's that. At least I hope not, because it's like, well, I don't need sleep apnea on top of everything else. But thank you for bringing it up. That's definitely sort of something, worth noting. That way, if ever I notice more symptoms in the future, I can be like, hey, let's run some tests and see, just in case. Ooh, someone from Germany. What time is it in Germany? It must be pretty late, I'm assuming. Then again, it's only 2 p.m. here, so. So continuation of the last message, it's usually mast that's a bit under pressure that pumps oxygen while you sleep and is observing your levels during the night. Yep, yeah, exactly. That's what my friend uses. Like, I remember, like, he was working with me in construction, as I was talking about before. And, it's like, he would come to work and he would, like, always be exhausted. And one day, finally, like, he had the budget to afford the machine. And it just completely changed who he was. He was like, oh my God, I feel so much better. Like, I actually get to sleep. I wake up feeling rested. And it was just nice to be able to see him, go through that transition. Someone's like, wow, almost 600 videos. Nice. Glad I'm not the only one who's excited. All right. let's see what this comment says, because it starts with, not to be rude. The oncologists have estimated the life expectancy for you. Not for me specifically, just for other people who have had this type of cancer. So, they have all the information, and as a result of that, they're able to tell, okay, well, out of everyone who had your type of cancer, there was this percentage that had stage 4. Out of the people who had stage 4, there was this amount of people who, stayed alive for this amount of time. So they can tell me, well, your average of living this long is that percentage. Obviously, it's a very rare type of cancer, so they don't have that much information. That's why when I ask, what are my odds of making it to 10 years, they're like, honestly, not enough people make it to that point for us to be able to have that data. So, it is limited. I'm not obviously like, putting all my eggs in that basket in the sense of like, oh, well, my odds of making it to 5 years are 10%. That means my odds of dying by then are 90%. And that just like completely depresses me. I end up letting myself die as a result of that. That's not really the type of person I am. I kind of flip it upside down and I use it as motivation. So I don't really, actually, it's pretty much like that when it comes to anything the doctors say. Obviously, yes, they're experts. Obviously, yes, they're trying to keep me alive. They're doing the best they can. But at the end of the day, they're coming at this from the perspective of, he's going to die someday. Let's just try to keep him alive as long as we can. So at the end of the day, I always do whatever feels right inside and not what the doctors say. All right. Okay, this sounds like an insult. Take care of your teeth. You don't want to go there, believe me. Okay. I definitely do not want to go there, and I'm definitely taking care of them. I'm assuming that comment is related to the fact that I used to grind my teeth, so like they're ground in the front. So I'm assuming it's that. I don't know, whatever. Moving on. Please ask for a sleep ventilator from your care team. So continuation the previous comments from before. God is in this situation. Not quite sure what that means exactly, but okay. And by the way, hopefully, fingers crossed, this time, the live doesn't glitch, because apparently last time it did, and we got to like the half-hour mark, and there were just no more questions. I'm like, okay, I guess we're done. Let's just end things here. And then after in the comments, people were like, yeah, there were more questions, like there was something wrong with YouTube. So hopefully it doesn't happen this time, and we can keep going until questions actually run out. So we'll see. All right, hi G, I'm praying for you to get to see your wife. Thank you, I appreciate that. I'll be contributing once you get the green light. Well, thank you, I very much appreciate that. As I mentioned, I'm speaking, did I mention it? Anyway, I'm speaking to my oncologist next week, so I will ask about travel, how that would work, if I'm strong enough. If no, when could I potentially be strong enough? What can I do to improve those odds? And so on and so forth. So I'll definitely keep you updated on that front. But thank you very much. I appreciate it. Where to donate? So on the live itself, I'm not quite sure. I've never really attended a YouTube live, and I'm still kind of iffy on exactly how YouTube lives work. Like, I know how to run one, but I don't know all the features. I know it's possible to donate directly on a live, but I don't really know how. If you're referring to the GoFundMe, you can just go to the description of the channel, and at the bottom there are links. One of them is to my author website, the other is to the GoFundMe that my friend created for me. So you can just click on there, and the rest is pretty self-explanatory. All right, so the next question is, ask a nurse for visiting you a few times per week to address your needs, like breathing issues. I don't really see what's the point. Like, I see, my doctors and my nurses and everything when I'm there, and I share everything that's going on. I don't really see the benefit of someone coming here. Like, I just like, why would they bother coming all the way here when it's like, it's just an apartment. When is it going to change? I mean, I'm not dismissing what you're saying. I'm just trying to understand, like, why would they come here? How are you? Are you Canadian? Yes, I am. How about that? I'm actually French Canadian. I live in Quebec, in Montreal. So if you detect a slight accent, that's probably why. To be fair, like, Canadian and American accent, unless you're in specific regions of Canada or specific regions of the US, is relatively similar. So a lot of people don't necessarily realize that I'm in Canada. But yes, I am up north in the freezing cold. uh, he has a GoFundMe, so I'm guessing that's a response to the previous comment. Uh, okay, not quite sure what this means. Hepburn here. Where can we donate? I'm assuming Hepburn is someone else. I don't really know. Or maybe it's Audrey Hepburn. I don't know. Is she even still alive? Anyway. Yeah, so I already answered that question before, so let's move on to the next one. Do you know what cancer looks like? I mean, I haven't seen it like firsthand. I've seen scans of it. It's just like tumors in different areas of your body that are cancerous and that basically attack your body and slowly destroy it. But like visually, it's not like, they took out a tumor and showed me. It's like, all right, this is what cancer looks like. And the only chance I would have had to is when they did the biopsy in the beginning. And back then, I didn't even know if it was cancerous or not. Plus, it was like such a tiny sample that it would probably look like nothing, just like a speck of dust or whatever. So, yeah, I guess I don't know what it looks like because I've never actually seen it, but I do know what it is and what it looks like on scans. Oh, someone from Vienna. Did I read your comment yesterday? I'm not quite sure what your comment you're referring to, but I would imagine not, because unfortunately, due to a lot of different factors, I simply cannot read and respond to all the comments. So I've just kind of stopped reading them, except when it comes to lives and responding to that, because I think it's important to be able to answer people's questions. It's just when it comes to time, first of all, like especially when I get more views, if I publish a video and there's 100 comments on the video, well, I have to read the 100 comments, I have to respond to the 100 comments, and then respond to the people who respond to my response. And then it just keeps snowballing, and then there's a video the next day and the video the next day, and it just keeps piling up and piling up. And it's like, as much as I love reading most of the comments, sure, there's a couple of trolls, but most of the comments are very positive, and I enjoy that. But it's just like, I don't have the energy to be able to spend, multiple hours every single day reading comments. And also because of the occasional trolls, it's just like it affects me too much. That negativity is like I'm already going through enough. I just can't afford that in my life. So to answer your question, I'm pretty sure I have not read your comment, but feel free to ask it here and I will definitely answer. Oh, okay, they also said I was binge watching you for days. Well, either thank you or I'm sorry, not quite sure which. Because to me, like, obviously I appreciate it. I'm glad that you find value in the videos that I make. But at the same time, I'm like, watching me for days, that sounds horrible. But I mean, that's just me. And I assume most people would feel like that, about themselves. Hi, man. Amazing to see you're still holding up well. Well, thank you. My question to you is, if you could share one piece of advice to people who have gone through the same thing you have, what would that be? That's a very hard question to answer. And the reason is because every single person is different. Every single situation is different. Every single type of cancer is different. Every single stage of cancer is different. And every single type of symptom that people experience is different. As an example, someone else who has a YouTube channel also and has the same type of cancer as me has had it for 8 years, but for her, it's never been an issue in the lungs. So breathing and coughing has never been that much of an issue for her. So her struggles have been much different than mine. Like she's been able to keep working this entire time, whereas I haven't. Like I'm not physically capable of working at this moment. And so that's what I mean. Like it's very hard to give advice because situations vary so much. But I guess the only piece of advice that would apply to everyone is just do what feels right to you. It doesn't matter what the doctors say. It Doesn't matter what your family or friends or spouse or anyone says, do what feels right to you because it's your life that depends on it. And when it comes to me specifically, I much prefer dying knowing that I did what I felt was right rather than doing something that doesn't feel right and hoping that maybe it'll save me. That's just the type of person I am. The scariest thing for me would be to get to the end of my life and regretting something. I've made sure to live my life in a way that will never happen. So that would be my advice to other people. Always do what feels right. All right. Did you think about shamanic voodoo helps so many healings from them? Not really. One of my friends who did have cancer, she had leukemia many years ago, did not voodoo specifically, but like, alternative medicine. She went to India to see healer and everything. And it's like that's what helped her. And, when I was young, my brother had, a type of epilepsy that didn't stop. So every time he would have a convulsion, we'd have to like rush him to the hospital. He almost died 14 times. And out of desperation, my parents did whatever they could, including going to see a healer in Brazil. And it did help him. It didn't completely get rid of wow, I just said it and I forgot. Not the convulsions, the epilepsy. There we go. But it did change it, and now whenever he has epilepsy, it stops by itself. So they don't have to rush him to the hospital every time, and his life is not constantly in danger. It's like I am completely aware that things like that exist, that they can help. It's just like I was kind of saying before, I do whatever feels right, and to me, at the moment, that doesn't feel what is right, like what's right for me, Maybe in the future, I don't know, we'll see. But for now, I'm doing whatever I think is right. Um, that gift of a plane visit to your wife, could she instead do the traveling and her fly to me? Unfortunately, not. That's the issue. Especially for people living in Latin America, getting permission to come to Canada is very, very difficult for the simple reason that a lot of people who do that come here on visit and never leave. So as a result of that, it's very difficult for people living in those countries to be able to get permission to come here. We tried that. We tried a visitor visa. We tried a few different things, and it simply didn't work. Like all we can do now is, okay, well, I'm sponsoring her so she can come here and become, an official resident of Canada. But that process takes a long time. And in the meantime, she's not allowed to come here. Like they would not let her on a plane to get here. Even if somehow they did, once she got here, they'd be like, you're not allowed in the country, go home. So unfortunately, it's not possible for her to come to me. I wish it were. It would be so much easier, but that's just not how the system works. All right, so someone says, don't be stubborn. Sleeping is more important than a simple mask. Sleep apnea, patients wear them all the time. It's just a tool to help you get good sleep. Your days will be way better with that. Yes, I'm aware of that. But once again, it's just like the concerns of like, from what my friend told me, it's very, very expensive to get those types of machines. And in my case, it's not like I have sleep apnea and I'm going to need to have the machine for the rest of my life. It's like, it's for a limited amount of time. And it's like, I don't have the budget to invest thousands of dollars in a machine that I'll just use for a certain amount of time. So I'm trying to explore all other potential options. Trust me, I know how important sleep is. I wish I could have the best nights ever because I know that impacts everything else. I just don't have the budget to be able to do that. So that's why I haven't really looked that much into it yet. All right. Hi G, what kind of music do you listen to? Have you ever found motivation through it? Do you play any instruments? All right, so let me answer the last question first. I used to play piano when I was young. Restarted a few years ago back when I was living with roommates and one of my friends got a piano, well, a keyboard. And since then I've kind of pretty much forgotten everything. I would one day like to get back into it. I enjoy piano. I love classical music, especially piano. or, you know, like piano covers of, you know, popular songs or stuff like that. I really enjoy it. And that kind of answers the first part of it. So, yes, I do listen to music. Not that much. For me, music is to experience something. So sometimes when I go out for a walk in the park, not now obviously because it's freezing, but you know, in the spring, summer, fall, I go for a walk in the park and I just want to kind of like be relaxed and enjoy nature and everything. Sometimes I just like, you know, play music in my headphones, mostly classical, as I was saying, few pop songs, stuff like that. Um, I mean, some, you know, rock and stuff, but it's like I don't have a specific genre that I listen to aside from classical. It's more like if I like a song, I like a song. But for me to like it, it needs to make me feel something. And a lot of the times, it's like, okay, I feel like I need to process something. Sometimes it's I need to let go of something. Sometimes it's, you know, I need to cry or whatever it is. It's like I find a song that moves me, that elicits that emotion, and I listen to it on repeat until I've processed what I needed to process. So for me, music is really an instrument to be able to process things and to experience things emotionally. How's my weight going? Kind of answered it before, but you know, it's always a struggle. Eating's always a struggle, so the weight is a struggle as a result of it. I think I might have lost a little weight recently. We'll see next week when I go get weighed and see my oncologist. But it's still not, you know, it's not back down to the point where it's causing a lot of issues. I did notice that because of my breathing issues, I haven't been able to walk. I haven't been able to exercise for almost a month at this point, and I feel it. Like I've gotten weaker as a result of that. So I'm really hoping we can find a solution. Hopefully they can prescribe a longer lasting Ventolin. That way it's gonna help my breathing, you know, not just for brief periods, but for extended periods, and then I'll be able to start walking again, start working out again, rebuild some of that muscle, rebuild a little of that stamina that I lost, because that would definitely make a big difference. A big part of that also is being able to eat enough. So I'm hoping that if we can find kind of a level that works for the weed gummies, it can help boost the appetite without all that crap of getting high and everything. So we'll see. I'm always testing things, trying to figure things out. So uh, I still don't get that question. Do you know what cancer looks like? I don't know. I answered the best I could before. Not really sure what you mean. So moving on. Someone's like, no voodoo! Guess someone doesn't like voodoo. Will you make it through 2025? There's no question mark, so it might be a statement or a question. I'm going to take it as a question and say, fuck yes. Why don't I use weight gainer? I do take protein supplements and I do everything I can at the end of the day. It's just like my body can only tolerate a certain amount of food, whether it's liquid or whether it's solid per day. And it's always a struggle. So it's like I try to balance so I get as much calories as I can while still being able to eat a few things that I enjoy. Because at this point, there's very little, like very few things that I enjoy. And one of the things that I pretty much always enjoy is fruits, pretty much every kind of fruit. Unfortunately, there's not that many calories in fruits, so I can't eat that many, but I make sure to eat at least a bit every day because it's important to at least enjoy a fraction of what you eat. Ooh, someone got cold feet. They retracted their message. Do I still have cancer? Yes, I very much do. Wish I didn't, but I do. If you watch the last few videos from like, I don't know, 2 weeks ago at this point, it's actually spread to my liver now, so I have even more cancer than I had before. Voodoo is not always bad. Can't really judge. I'm not really that much of an expert when it comes to that. Is there anyone taking care of you? Yes, me. And the doctor is the best that they can, but you know, we can't really rely on them because they have a ton of patients. They're doing the best they can, but you know, they're overloaded. That's just how the system works. How am I? How old are you? Okay, I'm 34. That's why I have gray hair. It doesn't necessarily show that much on the video, but yeah, when my hair starts to get longer, it shows more. Like, it's just funny, like, when it starts to grow, I look older because my hair is longer and you can see all the gray. When I, like, trim, especially the sides, I look so much younger. It's like a 10-year difference. Like, I don't know. Let's say I look 34, maybe some people are like, oh, you look older, you look younger, whatever. But it's like, let's say I look 34 now. If I get a haircut and it's like it's really short on the sides, I'm gonna look like almost in my mid 20s. It's just weird how much of an impact the haircut makes on how old I look. Especially if I shave. Like if I shave and get a haircut where it's short on the sides, I look so much younger. Which is both good or bad. At this point, I'm like, I have fucking cancer. I'm fighting for my life. I don't give a fuck how old I look. Uh, have I ever been a vegetarian? Well, I would say for about 34 years at this point. Which, yes, means I've always been a vegetarian. I've tried a couple times a few different types of meat. I've never liked it. I've spoken about this in previous lives, but I don't like the texture. It seems gross to me when I eat it, and it kind of repulses me. Plus, whenever I eat meat, my brain just automatically thinks about the animal that I'm eating, and it just grosses me out. Like the best way I can explain it in the way that my friend understood what it was like for me is, to me, like eating meat is the equivalent of like you walking down the street and you see like a raccoon squished on the side of the road and you're like, I'm gonna eat that. Most people would be like, ew, that's gross. That's pretty much how I feel about meat. I have nothing against meat. If I liked it, I would eat it because it would make my life way easier. Unfortunately, I don't, so it is what it is. 8 p.m. in Germany. Okay, thank you for answering my question from before. So 8 p.m. Let me do the math. So 6 hour difference. Okay, not that bad. Ah, from Berlin. Nice. Never been, but hope to go at some point. And again, I hope to go everywhere at some point because I love traveling. Hey, cool. Another person from Montreal. Hello, neighbor. Okay, still that same person. Do you know what cancer looks like? I don't understand what you're asking me. If you want me to answer, you need to change the formulation of your question because it doesn't make sense to me. Hello. Ah, okay, so another person answered 8:15 p.m. in Germany. Audio stopped working? I hope not. I don't think so. No one else has made a comment, so it might be on your end. Maybe as I go down, there might be other comments. If that's the case, then I'll try to address it the best way I can, but I think that for now, everything seems fine. None of us are promised today. Live for today, make your day the best day. Absolutely, could not agree more. It's just funny because I think about that sometimes. And it's like, given the irony of life sometimes, it's like, I'm probably going to end up like, surviving cancer only to walk out of my door and get hit by a bus and die right after. Like, I hope that's not what happens, but given how ironic life is sometimes, I'm like, yeah, I could see that happening. Someone says hi from the UK, hi from Romania. Cool. One of my really good friends is Romanian. We used to be roommates. I would say something in Romanian, but it's been too long, I've forgotten. Sorry. Do I have any pets? No, I do not. I used to be allergic to cats and dogs when I was young. Well, I mean, I was allergic to most things when I was young, back when I had asthma. Kind of went away since then. But now that I'm having more breathing issues, I'm thinking that maybe I'm still slightly allergic because my sister has 2 cats and a dog, and I went to visit her recently during the holidays, and it seemed to make the breathing issues worse. So, yeah, maybe I'm still slightly allergic. But no, at the moment I do not have pets. Although I'm pretty sure that at some point in the future we will, because my wife loves dogs. She has 2, and I don't think she'll be able to come with them here, but maybe eventually we can get them, brought over, or, get another one. But I'm pretty sure at some point we will have pets. The only thing is, for me, it's like, I feel bad, let's say for the dog, like I feel bad for the dog when you live in an apartment in the city. If you're in the country, they can run outside, everything. Okay, that's fine. They can have a nice life, but it's like if you live in the city and they're stuck spending most of their time in the apartment, I feel like it just sucks for them. It seems kind of cruel to me. That's just my opinion. I don't judge anyone, but for that reason, like that's why I don't have any pets. Plus, also I like to travel, and obviously when you have pets, it's more difficult because either you have to find a way to travel with them, which is much more complicated, or you need to have someone take care of them while you're gone, or, find a place for them to stay while you're gone or something like that. So it just make things more complicated. Plus, what I'm currently going through would make it more difficult with like, well, I have to take care of myself while on top of that having to take care of an animal. So no, at the moment, I do not have any pets. Ooh, someone else who had cold feet. Ah, someone speaking French. Let me say it in French just because he wrote it in French, even though most of you won't understand. Salut, Chami, je suis au nord de la chute. Nice. La chute. I've been, I think, like once to La Chute. I'm spread. I'm saying it. I'm pronouncing it in English, even though I live in Quebec. I grew up speaking French and everything, and I know it's pronounced La Chute, not Le Chute, but I just have this. I don't know. That's how I've like trained myself. Whenever I speak a language, I'll pronounce the word in that language rather than the correct pronunciation in the language spoken wherever that thing is. I don't know. It's just the thing I do. Hello from Saskatchewan. Love watching your videos. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Never been in, honestly, like, I'm a little embarrassed, but I've barely traveled within Canada. And the thing is, like, it's such a huge country. There's so many places to visit. But to me, it's always been like, well, if I'm going to travel, let me go to a different country, discover a different culture. And as a result of that, I've barely visited anything in Canada. Like, yeah, okay, I'm in Quebec, so I've visited a bunch of different places there. Some in Ontario, been to like the Maritimes and stuff like that, but haven't really traveled as much as I should have within Canada. Did you think about morphium? Uh, it's an underskin pump. Okay, never heard of that. You press it when you have ACEs? I'm not really sure I understand, but nope, never heard of morphine. That's the first time I hear it. Gotta get past all the depressing talk. You're making a difference. Well, thank you. Didn't realize I was engaged in depressing talk, but sorry for being depressing, I guess. You're good at giving speech. I'm envious of it. Well, thank you very much. To be fair, it's not something that came naturally. I used to be very shy and introverted when I was young, and I had to do a lot of work on myself to overcome that. And I did participate in Toastmasters for a couple of years. If you don't know what that is, it's basically a worldwide organization of people who get together and practice public speaking, leadership skills, things like that. And that definitely helped a lot. But also, the challenges that I put myself through while going through that process of falling in love with fear. And a lot of those were social interactions and things like that. And that also helped me overcome this, difficulty that I had expressing myself, speaking to people. Also did some improv, that was fun. I've always liked doing improv. I think that's why I hope I'm good at live. I think I am. I mean, there's 103 people watching, so I can't be that boring, I guess. Or people just like to watch boring people. I don't know. But thank you. I'll take the compliment. So yeah, just to kind of like elaborate on that, yeah, I was not like a natural at speaking, expressing myself, giving speeches, stuff like that. So, if I was able to do it, you can do it too. If it's something you want to do, of course. Would it not be easier for your wife to come visit you? It would. Unfortunately, it's not possible. Okay, can't your wife visit you instead of you visiting her? They're blocking her because you're married and they fear she won't leave after the vacation due to her from Nicaragua. Yep, that's pretty much it. Unfortunately, that's just how it works for immigration, especially people who live in countries such as Latin America. It's just very, very difficult. That's the way this system works. Wish it wasn't, but it is. So gotta do what we gotta do. I'm from the Maldives. You're a great storyteller. Thank you. I appreciate you using the word storyteller because to me, storytelling is an art form. And it's like, I used to want to be a motivational speaker, but it's like, not really. That doesn't really apply. It's like motivational storyteller. I share stories, I tell stories, I share my life. If it can inspire people, awesome. But it's not about motivating people, it's about sharing stories and then people get whatever they need from that. So just to continue the comment, wish you live a healthy, long life to explore the world and tell your experience. Thank you. As you have done in your past videos. Well, thanks. I appreciate that very much, and I do hope so. It would definitely be nice. Well, for now, it's like I have very specific goals now, such as get rid of the cancer, be with my wife. But it's like once, those basic things are taken care of, then yes, it's definitely within the plans to travel and to keep sharing. And, it'd be nice. Like, to me, my ideal life, aside from just winning the lottery and being rich and not have to do anything ever again, but like, aside from that would be just like traveling and giving speeches in different countries and different areas, sharing my stories, and hopefully inspiring some people. That's kind of my idea of a perfect life. Saludos desde España. Te deseo que te recuperes. Dios te bendiga. Muchas gracias. Someone just saying they're from Spain. They wish me to recover and that God blesses me. For those of you who don't speak Spanish. Okay, so we care. Why do so many have cancer? Your theory? I have no idea. I think part of it is just that people are being less and less careful when it comes to their health. There's more and more things that cause cancer because okay, technology is good, but there's also a side effect to that and it could potentially be cancer. I don't know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. There's a lot of theories out there. I really don't know. And I think another part of it is just we've become much better at detecting it. So as a result of that, it seems like there's so much more cancer. There probably is more, but I don't think there is as much more as we think there is, just because we've gotten so good at diagnosing it that more people who have it know they have it as opposed to before when they just had it and didn't know they had it. So I don't really have a specific theory, but that's kind of my impressions. Sorry. I've been so focused on the comments I didn't realize someone seems to have... Wow. Well, thank you, Barry Tong. He donated 250 Hong Kong... I don't know if it's dollars. I don't know what the currency exactly is there, but I don't know how much that is in Canadian, but thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Is there a support group for your illness to get information, new treatments, and friendship? For my type of cancer specifically, I don't know. There are definitely a bunch of cancer support groups. I've just personally never felt the need to reach out and get that kind of support. Even though that wasn't the goal of creating the channel and sharing my stories, I've gotten that support through this. And I've also been very lucky to have family and friends who support me. And my wife, of course, she's the biggest, source of support and motivation and inspiration that I have. But I've never really felt the need to connect with other people who had cancer or be part of that community. And one of the reasons for that is because it's you're the average of the 5 people you spend most of your time with. And if I surround myself and spend a lot of time interacting with other people who have cancer, subconsciously that's telling my body, oh, well, that's the new normal. Everyone is sick, everyone has cancer. So it's going to make it more difficult for me to get rid of that cancer. That's what I believe. So I've never felt the need, and it seems like it would be kind of detrimental in my case. That's my perspective. Hey, everyone. Someone says hi, everyone. You said you saw your mom. Did you reconcile with her so that there's no unforgiveness in your heart? Yes, I did see her during the holidays. I went, through that process of saying farewell to everyone, and she was one of those people. The thing is, there is no unforgiveness in my heart. I have no resentment towards her. I haven't had any resentment or anger or regrets or issues or anything like that ever since that I ended the relationship over a year ago. The reason I did that is because I realized she has been a negative influence in my life. It's not good for my health. I can't afford to expose myself to that in my current condition. So I'm putting an end to the relationship. Plus, when I was young and she left and she basically disowned us as her children and said, "You're no longer my son," it changed things. It like severed that link. And yeah, it took me a long time to accept that she's no longer my mother. I just refer to her as such because it's easier rather than having to explain this whole story every time I mention her. Um, but the thing is, like, at this point, she's no longer my mother, I'm no longer her son, and we're so different as people that we would never be friends. So there's no point in trying to force a relationship there when there wouldn't be any normally. If it wasn't for the fact that she's my mother, I would have never met her. I would have nothing to do with her. I have no interest in common with her. So that's why it's like I said, I have no unforgiveness, no regrets, nothing towards her. It's just like we didn't reconcile because there was nothing to reconcile. We're just very different people on very separate and different paths in life, and that's okay. It's like, it would be like me trying to force a relationship with a neighbor I have nothing in common with. It's like, sure, I could do it, but what's the point? So it's like I did have, a conversation with her and said what I had to say, said my farewells, and gave her space to express whatever she needed to express, to say whatever she needed to say. But on my part, I just did it because I was going through the process of saying farewell to everyone in my life, everyone I've been close to or was close to in the past, and she was part of that group of people. So it was definitely fun. Like, it was definitely a good thing to go through that process, but it wasn't like it really changed anything for me. Of course, you read every comment. Well, in the lives, yes. On the other videos, unfortunately, I can't afford to at this point. It's just too overwhelming. Much love. We're rooting for you, mate. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I will keep praying for you. Such a courageous soul. God bless you and your wife. She is such a strong soul. Absolutely. Thank you very much. But yes, absolutely, I agree with you. She's so strong, so amazing, so brave. Like, it just blows my mind that she's been able to cope with everything that I've put her through. Not to say like, oh, it's my fault and I blame myself, just like the situation is the way it is, and she's forced to watch me go through this alone and not being able to help me, not being able to be there for me physically. And I know it's been very difficult for her. And if the roles were reversed, like, I honestly do not know if I would be strong enough to do what she has been doing for the last year and a half. And I'm incredibly grateful to have her. Yes, sir, you got it. I'm assuming that's in response to the comment I made of like, well, of course I'm going to fucking live through 2025. Te envío todo mi amor desde España. Estoy orando por ti. Muchas gracias. So someone from Spain, I'm not quite sure if it's the same person as before, saying they're sending a lot of love from Spain and that they're praying for me. What do you think of the Canadian healthcare system? I have prostate cancer and have spoken with Canadians with prostate cancer who say the wait times for tests and treatments are very long. On that front, it's difficult for me to have an opinion because my form of cancer is so advanced that they always rush everything for me. So in that sense, it's like I haven't experienced the true healthcare system the way that a lot of others have because my condition is so intense, so severe, so advanced. I'm pretty much like always pushed to the front of the line. It's like it's great for me in the terms of me getting the tests and the results and everything that I need, but I feel like it doesn't give me an accurate sensation of what the healthcare system really is like for the average person. Aside from when I go to the ER, like, last time I went because I coughed up like a bunch of blood, which is something pretty serious. Yet I had to wait 6 hours before seeing a doctor and 10 hours in total before getting the results and them telling me, like, no, everything's good, you can go home. So, aside from my occasional visits to the ER, I haven't really experienced the Canadian healthcare system the way that most people have. So, it's hard for me to have an opinion on that. I do understand absolutely. Then I just will. Sorry, there's a couple typos. I'm trying to understand what it says. I'm sorry, there's a couple typos and it's making me difficult for me to understand the question. Okay, so they're saying like, can you say like it's my last will to see my wife? I'm assuming in regards to immigration. Unfortunately, we tried that in the visitor visa application and they do not seem to give a fuck. So, that's the thing. When it comes to immigration, they're basically gods. If you fall on a person who's having a bad day who doesn't care, you're screwed. There's nothing you can do. That's just the way the system works. So it's like you got to do what you can and wait for whatever is going to happen to happen. You have no control over it. Ooh, someone retracted 2 messages. I check in with you daily to see how you're doing. Well, thank you. You know that you are cared about and thought of, and most importantly, prayed for. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And since you check in daily, I'm assuming you find value in my videos. So, not quite sure what that is, because I know different people watch for different reasons, but I definitely appreciate it. Go for all options: alternative, healer, energy work, Kundalini. Go for all. You have nothing to lose. I want to believe that you will heal. You always said I will survive. Yes, I did, and I still do believe that. But there's also like, it's been important for me to go through that process of surrendering to, I call it God. I used to call it the universe. Different people have different names for it. It doesn't really matter. But going through that process of surrender really helped a lot for me, because I'm the type of person who's very stubborn, who tries to control everything. And it's been very important for me to let go of that process. And at the end of the day, I've been able over my life to develop the ability to sense what's right for me. And that's why I don't do everything. In the beginning, that was my approach of like, I'm not going to leave any stone unturned. I'm going to do every single thing that I can to try to find a cure. And I quickly realized there are so many different things that I could do that it's impossible to do them all. And some of them kind of like cancel each other out, so there would be no point in doing everything. Plus, it would be very, very expensive and I don't have the money. So at the end of the day, I just do whatever feels right inside. But I understand why you're saying that, and I did have that exact same perspective in the beginning of like, let's try everything. Saludos desde España, so someone, I think still the same person from Spain. Man, you're a true inspiration to many. Well, thank you. I hope you're still going to live on. So do I. Stay with us as long as possible and get to tell us many more interesting stories and thoughts. That is definitely the plan. Ooh, greeting from Russia. Nice. I would say hi in Russian, but I don't know how to. So, hi in English. Ooh, following me from Switzerland. Nice. Never been, but once again, it's another one of those countries and I'm like, yep, I want to go there someday. So my question is, what would you recommend us as family/friends surrounding and supporting someone with cancer? That is a little difficult for me to answer because I'm the one with cancer. I don't know, exactly what's going through the minds of my friends and family. So I can give you my perspective, what I think they were going through, and my suggestions, but I can't know for sure. Like at the end of the day, it's like, for all I know, every single person in my life does not believe that I'm going to survive. They believe that at some point I'm going to die, even though they're positive and encouraging and supportive in everything, I don't know what's going on in their heads. And, deep down, a lot of the times we don't really know what's going on within ourselves either. So it's kind of difficult to answer that, but I guess just, be there for them in the best way that you can. Be supportive, but at the same time, like, it's important that you don't completely change how you interact with them, because it's important for people going through something this intense to feel like they can have a sense of normalcy. Like, hey, I can still chill with my friends and make dumb jokes and joke about cancer and death and stuff like that. And it's like, I appreciate that. I'm very grateful for that. So it's like, be supportive, be encouraging, try to motivate them if you can, but also make sure that you still remain yourself and don't change the relationship for that. And that's pretty much all you can do at the end of the day. It's like, you don't get to control what happens to them. I mean, even they don't get to control what happens to them. All you can do is just what you do in everyday life. Make the most of every relationship while you can, because we never know if we're going to be there tomorrow. So have you contacted your MP regarding your wife, regarding getting your wife here? Not sure what you mean by MP, so I'm going to assume the answer is no. All right, someone wishing me well from the UK. Thank you very much. Oh, bonsoir, toi de France. Nice, someone from France. So I'm assuming in France it's probably, I think it's also a 6-hour difference. So same as Germany. This is so ridiculously sad regarding your wife visiting you. It is what it is. I've accepted it. Still people talking about voodoo. Oops, skip that comment, hold on. Do I ever experience anxiety? If so, what do you take for that? Do the doctors suggest specific medications for just anxiety? Anxiety has never really been an issue for me. And especially when it comes to cancer, like, by the time I got diagnosed, I'd already done so much work on myself and developed the mindset of whenever something bad happens, I always look for the good in that situation. And as a result of that, I just tend not to be anxious. Like, yeah, sure, every once in a while I worry and stuff like that. But it's just, in general, I'm not an anxious person, so I've never had to, worry about that or really experience it. And I don't know, I'm assuming there's medication for that if you need it. I just personally have not had that need, so I don't really know what those would be. Oro por ti desde España. Muchas gracias. Where do I live in Canada? I already answered before, but let me answer again. So I'm in Montreal. Good old province of Quebec, where they make everything more complicated. It's like, oh, well, you have to file your taxes. Okay, well, you have to do it in Canada and Quebec. You want to do, sponsor your wife to come here, well, first you have to apply to Canada, and then once you're accepted on the Canadian level, then you have to apply in Quebec and be accepted there. So, yeah, we like to make things complicated. Well, the government likes to make things complicated here. Wouldn't a nice short VA... Oh, okay, sorry, vacation. There was a space and it confused me. Wouldn't a nice short vacation to a warm beach, resting and taking in the sunset, would do feeling too? Need to eat? I'm assuming what they're saying is, wouldn't, taking a vacation and going on the beach and enjoying the sun be good for you? Yes, absolutely. I just don't know if I'm fit enough to travel. And there's also the issue that whenever you travel, it always puts extra stress on the body, and I don't know if I can handle it right now. Plus, because of the breathing issues, I feel like being in a warm country, where it's like 30, 40 degrees, might make it more difficult for me to breathe. I don't know. There would be no way of knowing, but yes, definitely, like, being on the beach and, in the ocean and everything, like, definitely helps. But we'll see what's meant to happen. I'm definitely going to ask my doctor next week if traveling is an option. Have you tried the insomnia meds? Zolpidem works for me. I don't think I've tried that one specifically. They did prescribe a sleeping pill. I don't know the exact name. So maybe it's that. First time I tried it, it was horrible. Instead of waking up a couple times per night, woke up every single hour the entire night and felt exhausted in the morning. But I'm like, you can't judge it based on the fact that I tried it only once. So let me try it a couple more times. And I tried it a second time since then, and it did seem to work much, much better than it did the first time. So, um, yeah, I mean, I always have that kind of as a backup. That and the pain pill, like those two seem to help. So whenever I sense like, okay, it's going to be a bad night or I really need some rest, like I have that as an option. I try to avoid it too much because, if you not become addicted, it's not something you become addicted to. It's just if you develop the habit of using it like every single night, your body gets used to that. And then when you don't use it, it's hard for you to sleep. So I try to find the balance between maximizing and getting as much good sleep as I can without using pills too often. That way, it doesn't accustom my body to it and I'm not stuck whenever I can't use it. Do I have a nebulizer for breathing? I have several and they help me. Also, I use Advair inhaler that works too. Not quite sure what that is. I'm assuming it's something similar to this. So yes, I do have this. I also have the humidifiers in my home. I have one in each room. I also did order a new one on Amazon that was bigger, that produces more humidity because the ones that I bought and for all the different rooms, like they're fine during the day, but at night when I'm sleeping, when I'm inclined, like I need a higher degree of humidity. It helps me better to be able to breathe. And it's just the humidifier I have now does not produce enough to get me to that level. So I did buy a new one. It should arrive hopefully this week, and I'm really hoping that's going to help. So yeah, I do have Ventolin when I need it. Hopefully they'll be able to prescribe a different type that lasts longer, and I do have humidifiers. So doing whatever I can to maximize or diminish the symptoms. Really, none of us are walking or promised a day, walk in faith. Absolutely. Gotta live life while you can. Gee, I get that you don't read your comments, although I believe you do sometimes. We also hate having to deal with the trolls. Would you please maybe once a week delete the negative ones, please? That's the thing. Because I don't read the comments, it's hard for me to be able to identify the people who are, mean or arguing or trolling or whatever. But a friend of mine who watches the videos, every once in a while he's like, hey, this person, this person, this person, like they're causing trouble, they're arguing with people, they're leaving mean comments, like can you remove them? And whenever he does that, I just go ahead and like scroll through like all the comments, just looking at the names, and then I find their name and I block them. So it's like I'm doing my best. It's just the only way to get all of them would be for me to read all the comments, and unfortunately I can't do that at the moment. It's too much. But yes, I do my best to remove them as much as I can. All right, so whoever this person in Spain is seems to like me very much. Thank you very much. And hopefully my wife doesn't get jealous. Do I speak French? If so, say something in French. Quelque chose en français. For those of you who don't speak French, I literally said something in French. In French. Thought it was fun. I pray for you every day. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. You should not be alone in your situation. I don't understand why your wife is not with you. I've discussed it multiple times in the past, as well as multiple times in this live. We're doing what we can to be together. Immigration is a very long and complex process. Hopefully soon we'll be together. For now, it's simply not a possibility. Are you right with God? I don't know, right or left. Don't really think it matters. But I believe I am. I don't know, I guess everyone's opinion would be different on that. Oh, sorry. Sometimes, like when I'm trying to scroll, sometimes I hold my finger a little too long and it just like opens up a pop-up menu and I'm like, oh, come on. I'll be 34 next week. Oh, well, happy birthday. Lucky you, cancer spreading love. Nice. I like that. It's hard to drink. It's hard to drink also? Question mark. So I'm assuming it's a question. Is it hard to drink also? Weight gainer is not like protein. It gives you much more calories. I've tried like specific, like drinks like that have a lot of or a lot of calories in it, such as Ensure or like stuff like that. And it's just like few times I tried, my body just like rejected it. I threw up and it did not feel good. So it's like I same for like protein bars. It's like if I force myself to eat a protein bar, it's like it's just gonna fill me up so much I can't really eat anything else. So it's like it feels like I'm eating more calories, but in fact I'm eating less because it just kind of like blocks my appetite completely. So it's just like I try to balance and do the best I can. 34, you're so young. I guess that depends. My wife is 10 years younger than me, so compared to her, I'm old as fuck. uh, sorry, I swear every once in a while. Like, the thing is, like, I used to swear when I was a teenager, then I kind of stopped for a while when I was an adult, and now it's just like, whenever it feels right, it feels right. I won't hold myself back. So yeah, every once in a while I swear. Hopefully it doesn't offend people, but if it does, I don't give a fuck. Ooh, hugs and positive vibe from Greece. Nice. I was gonna ask once again, like, what time is it in Greece? But it's like, okay, it really doesn't matter what time it is in every single country. Thank you. Eat fish then. I'm not sure in relation to what that is. Maybe the fact that I'm vegetarian, but if I eat fish, then I'm not vegetarian. I'd be pescatarian. And what I described before of me like not liking meat and how it repulses me. Uh, Fish and shellfish, or like seafood especially, is like next level. Like, oh, like I know people tell me like fresh fish is way different than like store-bought fish, but I'm just like I'm sorry, like I've eaten stuff that was cooked with seafood and there was a bit of that seafood taste in it and it's just so disgusting to me. I'm like, I no, I can't. Like meat, maybe one day I could get used to it, certain types of it, but fish and seafood, like I do not think that would ever be possible. Uh, all right, so someone's asking, what's your issue to someone else? Not quite sure in relation to what comments, so I'm gonna skip that. I pray for you and your wife every day. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I know that she does too. About meat, we evil loved on it. Not quite sure what that means. Maybe it was a typo. Don't really understand, so can't answer. It's working. Not quite sure what, but okay, cool. Glad that it's working. Hope you'll see your wife and daughter soon. I don't have a daughter. Hopefully in the future at some point. But yes, I also definitely hope that I'll see my wife soon. Daughter would be a very, very big surprise. Hi G, do you still write stories like your books, or does that cost you too much energy? You're a good storyteller. Greetings from the Netherlands. Oh, nice. So not at the moment. I've just kind of, what I'm going through is just so intense that I don't have the energy to focus on creating stories at the moment. There is my book series that I started. I wrote 6 books, published 5. The 6th one has been written, just not published yet. And as I mentioned, like with writing, I don't have the energy to go through the editing process and formatting and then getting the cover design and publishing everything. Like I just don't have the energy to do that. But I do have 5 more, 5 more books planned in that series. Everything's like completely planned out. I just have to write them. So yes, I do plan in the future, once this is all over, go back and finish that. Mostly for my own satisfaction, because let's be honest, at this point, I haven't really sold that many copies, so it's not worthwhile from a financial perspective. It's just I love storytelling. I've worked on that story for so long. I want to finish it, and I will finish it in the future. It's just now I don't have the energy or the mindset for that. So in the future, yes, now, no. Plus, I will write the book of everything I've been going through and will continue to go through once this is all over. That's one of the reasons I have this channel, to record everything. That way, when it comes time to write the book, I can go back, rewatch all the videos, and make sure to remember everything I've been through and really kind of feel what I was feeling at that moment so I can accurately describe it in the book. What is the name of the book you wrote? Well, I've written 7, published 6, so kind of hard to answer that question. But if you want to have all the information, you can just go to the YouTube channel. In the description at the bottom, there's going to be 2 links. One is to the GoFundMe. The other one is to my author website, so you can just click on that link and you'll be able to go to my website and see the description, all the information regarding my books, except the one that has been written and not published yet. G, tell them to Google and click on images, then they can see pics of different types of cancer. Yep, I guess that would be one answer. I still don't understand what that person was asking me. I really don't. Hey, you're awesome, I'll miss you. I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult. Because, like, you're awesome. Oh, cool. I'll miss you implies that they believe I'm going to die. So I'm like, that seems kind of mean. So I don't know how it was intended. I think it's kind of funny, but I'll take it as a compliment, so thank you. Cheryl from South Africa. South Africa, wow, nice. There's people from everywhere here today. You're an inspiration. Your journey has been a tough one, but your spirit and state of mind is amazing. Thank you. I would like to believe so. There are difficult moments, but overall, I've done the best that I could. So thank you for acknowledging that. I appreciate it. Once again, that same person from Spain, muchas gracias. Hi from Canada. I know you're from Canada. As I know you're from Canada, absolutely. I would say Canadian and proud, but I'm not because I'm not proud of being Canadian, just because to me it's not important where you're from. It's like, that's why I don't understand patriotism. It's like, who cares? It's a country. We're all humans. Let's just be happy and get along and make the most of life. So it's not like I'm not proud of being Canadian. I'm just not specifically proud of it. It just happens to be where I live. Hey, from Florida. Ooh, that sounds like way better weather than here. I wish that you weren't alone so much. Well, thank you. And I would say I wish the same, but at the same time, it's like there's a reason why it's happening this way. If I was meant to be with my wife, if I was meant to be with family or whatever, it's like it would be clear and things would kind of like fall into place for that to happen. Or I would feel the need inside, like, hey, I need to be like with other people. It's just at the moment, it makes more sense for me to be here because I have frequent medical appointments. If I was, back when I was living with my sister, it's like an hour and a half of travel to get there. I don't have a car. It's complicated. Same thing for my dad. It's like an hour and a half on the other side of Montreal. And it's just like, sometimes I have like 3 medical appointments per week on 3 different days. So it's like if I'm staying with my dad, well, not only do I have to come 3 different times in that same week, but at the same time, it's like I don't have an apartment here, so I don't have anywhere to stay, so I have to stay with my friend and impose on them. And it's just like it makes so much more sense for me to be here. So it's like, yeah, sometimes, I wish there was someone else here with me, but it's not meant to be, not yet. France here. Well, hello, France. Not sure if France from the country or France as in your name, because I know that some people are named France, so not quite sure which one, but either way, hi. I have 3 cats. Nice. We used to have like a ton of cats when we were young. My dad absolutely hates animals for some reason, so he never allowed us to have dogs and cats as long as they stayed outside. But of course, when he'd leave every once in a while, we'd kind of like sneak him in, and then before he came back, we'd put him back outside. But yeah, I definitely like. I mean, that's the thing. I love cats. I love dogs. I love animals. It's just like having one is a big responsibility. Plus, there's some limitations that come with it. And as I explained before, like living in the city, I don't know. I don't think it's nice for the animals when you're forcing them to live in an apartment rather than being able to roam outside. It was so hard to watch. I cried of your suffering and your pain. It was like me feeling at my bones in far Vienna. You don't have to suffer. Morphine and oxygen supplement. You know this tube you carry? Okay. Um, Sorry, I did not mean to cause you any pain or suffering as a result of what I'm going through. I just, always try to do whatever seems right to me in the moment. So, but I definitely do appreciate your concern. All right, so someone else from Spain. Hola desde España. Do you think your positive morale and attitude are having a positive impact and somehow helping the treatment? I mean, not being that positive would help cancer spread faster. Um, yes, I do believe that mindset has a huge impact. And I've been told that even by, doctors and stuff like that. Like I remember in the beginning when I was first diagnosed, they scheduled an appointment with me with a psychologist who deals with people who have cancer. And I kind of expressed my viewpoint and everything. And he's like, hey, keep, being positive, keep believing what you believe because I've seen people survive much longer than they should have because they had a positive attitude, because they believed that they could survive. And I've seen people who got cured when they, shouldn't have been. And, mindset has a huge impact on that. So it's like, I do believe that. And I've been told by others, including experts such as this, that it's like, it does play a huge role. For me, it's just been a matter of like, yes, okay, being positive, believing that I will be cured, believing that I'll survive, believing that I'll live to be very old and everything. But at the same time, still being able to surrender and accept whatever ends up happening. Because yes, I do control the everyday things, but I do not control the big things, such as whether I live or die. That's up to God. So it's like I need to surrender to be able to accept whatever ends up happening while still remaining positive. And I do believe that has an impact. So for me, my perspective at this moment is pretty much like I'm going to be as positive as I can and do whatever I can to maximize, my odds of living as long as I can. That way it gives God sufficient time to set everything up. And if I'm meant to be saved, then I'll be saved. And if I'm meant to die, then I'll die in whatever way I'm meant to die. And I'll be okay with that. So it's kind of a balance of the two. You can have a small dog. Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, that's the thing. It's like in my situation, it just would not make sense to get a pet at the moment. I'm already dealing with enough. But yeah, absolutely. Te deseo toda la felicidad del mundo y que Dios obre el milagro en ti. Muchas gracias. So once again, someone from Spain, as you could probably guess. So they're wishing me all the happiness of the world and that God is working a miracle for me. Where's your wife from? She's from Nicaragua. Okay, mais ma copine est Pierre France. I'm assuming that's the person who spoke French before who was saying they were in the shoot. So, okay, cool. Have you tried clinical trials or has it been suggested to you? There is a medical trial for my type of cancer. It's in Western Canada. Unfortunately, at the moment, it's currently full, but my doctor is keeping an eye on that. So if ever it opens up, if ever there's space, he's going to sign me up and, we'll do whatever we need to do because the thing is like, it's very, very far. If you don't live in Canada, like Canada is huge, second biggest country in the world. So it's like, if you live on one end and you have to go to the other end, it's like, yeah, okay, you can't travel that all the time. You need to stay there for however long the trial lasts. So if it's a couple weeks, a couple months, it's like, okay, I'm going to need to get an apartment over there during that time. And obviously that costs money. And as I mentioned, my budget is limited, so I don't know how that would work. But, at this point, it's like there's so many things that could happen or that could not happen, that there's no point in thinking about them. Let's just like do one thing at a time, live one day at a time, and if ever it comes up, whenever it comes up, then we'll deal with it then. Yo! That was what someone said. Would you consider taking fenbendazole or ivermectin? I've heard fenbendazole. By the way, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but has worked for stage 4 cancers. Yes, I've definitely heard that. It's just it's just ironic because I'm pretty sure, from what I recall, fenbendazole is a deworming medication that they give to dogs, and the person commenting, their icon for their profile is a picture of a dog. So I find that ironic. And yes, it's something that's been suggested to me, not something that, I felt like, oh yeah, that's the right thing for me to do. So for now, I haven't done it. I don't know about the future. I try not to have a closed mind. I just, do whatever seems right at the moment. And so far, it hasn't seemed right to me. So been kind of focusing on other stuff. That's kind of what my friend who beat breast cancer, and she also had a heart condition. Ooh, that sounds intense. And healed from a certain point, to a certain point, sorry. And then she got stung by a bee just to realize she was allergic. She was pissed. Wow. So I'm assuming that's in relation to the comment I made before of like, given how ironic life is, like I could probably like overcome this, get cured, and then get hit by a bus. Like, I think it's in relation to that. So sorry your friend had to go through that. Seeing how she was just pissed and she didn't, you didn't say she died, I'm assuming she's okay. But yeah, that definitely sucks. Hello there, happy 19th anniversary. Okay, well, it's not my 19th anniversary, so whoever's 19th anniversary it is, happy anniversary. I deny the language of the oppressor. I do not know what that means. If so, Javier, he tried so much to manifest that he healed. He believed so much to be healed. Why didn't it help? He battled so much. Okay, so he's talking to someone else, not really sure what it's in regards to, but since it's not addressed to me, I'll just let them talk it out. Blue hearts and an emoji that doesn't appear for some reason, so it's just a white X in a rectangle. But thank you. I'm a warrior. I don't always feel like one, but thank you. I'll take it as a compliment. Hey, from Memphis. Hey, nice. Apparently it's Elvis's birthday today. It's all over the place. Ah, okay. I did not know that. Well, I guess happy birthday, Elvis. Although, I mean, when you're dead, like, you still count birthdays? I don't know. But either way, whatever. Happy birthday. Morphine pumps, you press it and it helps you with your pain. A relative has it. Okay. When it's pressed, it relieves his pain. He can be addicted to morphine, but he couldn't bear the pain anymore. Fair enough. So far, luckily, the pain hasn't been that intense for me. Like, there's been periods where it's been intense, but overall, it hasn't been that much of an issue. So I've been lucky on that front. The biggest issues have been really the breathing and the coughing, and especially the breathing that affects everything else. So it's like that's been the biggest issue, and I don't know if morphine would help for that. And, I used to take a medication called Decadron to reduce the swelling in my brain when they first discovered the tumors there. And it is a powerful, medication. And it took my body a long time to be able to finally completely get off it. So I'm trying as much as I can to avoid getting back on any strong medications just because I know how difficult it was to get off that one. So as long as I don't need it, I try to avoid more intense stuff. Some people have to listen to your early videos and how you overcame being treated like crap from that girl on her phone while on a date. Oh yeah, and brought her friend and you paid and left. Bravo. Well, thank you. That was for everyone else who hasn't seen that video, and I'm assuming that's most of you. That was from back before I got diagnosed when I was traveling. and I matched with this girl. I don't know which app, let's say Tinder, and we're talking and planning a date, and she's like, "Oh, is it okay if my friend comes along? I'd be more comfortable if she's there." And I'm just like, "Well, no, that would be like awkward. Like we're going on a date to get to know each other. If your friend is there, either she'll be bored or it'll be weird. Like, no, that's just weird to me. Like, no." And then she's like, "Oh, okay, that's okay, no problem." We plan a date. I show up, and her friend is there, and I'm just like, "What the fuck?" Like, it's okay if you weren't comfortable going on a date without your friend there, but to me, it seems very weird and awkward. So if you told me, I would not have come. So I just like, in the beginning, I wasn't sure what to do. So I just got a drink, and after a couple sips, it's like the girl I was supposed to be on a date with was just on her phone the entire time, and her friend was making like small talk every once in a while. It was really awkward. So it's just like after a couple of minutes, I'm just like, screw this, I'm out of here. Went to the bar, paid, and just left. And I'm just like, I don't understand why people would do that. It's like it's fine if you want your friend there, but don't force me to be in that situation if I don't want to be. So yeah, little side story there. Um, Someone congratulating Barry Tong for his donation. Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Not quite sure how much it is in Canadian, but whatever it is, I appreciate it. Hola desde España. Someone from Spain again. Do you live alone? Not to be a creep, but just for your safety, don't worry. I mean, I don't think that's creepy, but even if it is, like, I don't care. I'm okay with it. You can be creepy if you want. Yes, I do live alone at the moment. Wish it wasn't that way because I wish my wife was here and at some point she will be, but for now, yes, I do live alone. Do I have a bucket list? Yes, I do. I've had a bucket list for a very long time, way before I was diagnosed. And ironically, now that I have been diagnosed, there are certain things on my bucket list that I can't do, which is ironic because it's a bucket list. It's things you want to do before you die. And it's like, now that I'm potentially dying, I can't do that thing that I wanted to do. As an example, like, I've always wanted to skydive. In my current condition, I cannot do that. So even though it's something I want to do before I die, I can't do it. So it's just very ironic, but yeah, I do have a bucket list. Kind of strange question, but are most of your followers male or female? Um, I don't know all the specifics, but from what I've seen from some of the stats in the YouTube Studio app, it seems like it's about, I think, 40% female, 40% male, and most of them are older than younger. So there's not that many like, 20 or 30-year-olds watching. It's mostly like 40s and 50s and then like 60 and up. So I guess I'm entertaining to older people, especially women. So I don't know what that means, but yeah, that seems to be kind of the breakdown I've seen so far. I guess because like women in general tend to be more caring and nurturing towards other people. So I guess they see me and like I'm younger and I'm a guy and they're just like, oh, they feel that like urge to want to care for me. That's a theory. I don't know if it's accurate or not. I don't want to offend anyone, but that's kind of the theory I came up with. What do I think about antidepressiva? I do not know it, so I think nothing of it. I mean, it sounds like an antidepressant. I've never really been depressed. Like, I've gone through a few periods where it's like a little more difficult, but in general, I've not been a depressed person, so never really looked into it, so don't really have an opinion on that. Intake D3 of 5,000 IUs minimum. Also magnesium, 200 milligrams, and zinc, 25 milligrams will make miracles. I already take all those things, but thank you, I appreciate the suggestion. Salut, j'ai une question et en français. As-tu reçu le jab? Et si oui, combien de doses? Merci. So I'm going to answer in English just so everyone can understand. So they're asking, did I receive the jab, so COVID vaccine? And if so, how many doses? So yes, I did, because when I traveled, it was still obligatory in order for me to travel. So even though I'd never been vaccinated for anything in my entire life and haven't been since then, and never plan on doing it again, I did do it because deep down I'm like, I sense I want to travel. It's what I'm meant to do. And getting vaccinated is something I need to do in order to make that happen. So I'm going to do it. So I did get 2 vaccines. That was at the time what was required. So yes, I did get 2. But as I mentioned, no plans to get any more in the future or any other kinds of vaccines. Are you the first in your family to be diagnosed with cancer? Immediate family, yes. Extended family, no. Both of my grandfathers were diagnosed with cancer. They did not die from that, but they did have it. And it's like, cancer at this point is so frequent that pretty much everyone has someone they know in their family that has it. So it's not really unusual. But the type of cancer that I had is not something that can be like passed down. So it's not like I need to worry about that. It's just, yep, there's been other people who have had cancer in my family. Bonne question, Danielle. I'm assuming that's a question regarding the COVID vaccine. Hello from the UK. I hope you're feeling okay and breathing better. How is your appetite today? Same as usual, I would say, which is pretty much non-existent, but I still have to force myself to eat, so that's what I'm doing. And sorry, to answer the other part of your question, which is going to make my answer ironic given the fact that I just coughed. But yes, for the last few days, the breathing seems to have gotten better. Like during the day, it's pretty much the same as it's been, but at night, that's kind of been what's been very difficult lately for the last few weeks, and it does seem to be better. So that's definitely good news. I hope it keeps going in that same direction. Are you able to get out much and breathe? I'm assuming breathe fresh air to see the ocean, or is it just not doable right now? Well, the ocean definitely not, given the fact that I live in Canada and not near either of the coasts. So ocean definitely not. And just getting some fresh air is difficult because it's very cold at the moment. And especially with the breathing issues, it's just like it's difficult for me to be outside. I had a supposed appointment this morning, and I say supposed because I woke up early and had breakfast and got ready, and then braved the like cold outside and this wind and the snow blowing my face and everything. Took the subway there, and then like climbed a really long hill to get to the hospital, only to find out, oh, the appointment's been canceled, but no one bothered to let you know. So anyway, all that to say, I have been outside today, and yes, it does feel good when I'm outside. Like I can sense that it does good to my body, but while I'm outside, it is very, very intense and very difficult. Makes me cough a lot, makes me have breathing issues. There's always a period when I come back and I'm exhausted because the cold just like burns through my energy very quickly, and I have more trouble breathing. So it's like it does help, but it's also very, very intense for me in my current conditions. So I don't get out as much as I would like to. But I mean, that's just part of the winter in Canada. Like most people try to avoid going outside during the winter because it's cold and it's not really that much fun. Like unless you go skiing or snowboarding or, skating or whatever, it's like unless you go out to do something, most people just kind of avoid going outside as much as they can during the winter. Do you follow Jenny Apple? No idea how that is, so I'm going to assume no. Also for the simple fact that I do not follow anyone. Hong Kong currency, 250 to Canadian is 46. Wow, $46. Well, thank you very much. I once again appreciate the donation, and I did not realize it was that much, so thank you. Not to say I appreciate it more because it's more money, but it's just like, it seems like a lot of money to me to donate, so I very much appreciate it. Thank you. Hablas muy bien español. Muchas gracias. They say I speak very well in Spanish. It's funny. Little note on that. Um, obviously, I still struggle when it comes to Spanish. A lot of the times I'm trying to say something and the words just don't come. So it's difficult for me to express myself, but my accent is not that bad. Um, but it's like I've heard people speaking Spanish who are like gringos, like it's not their original language. It's like even I, as a person who's still learning Spanish, can hear the difference. And it makes me cringe of like, okay, you speak, you know all the words, but your pronunciation is horrible. You sound like a total gringo. I'm just like, oh my God, that is painful to hear. And it's like, I'm not even a native Spanish speaker, so it's like, if I can tell, it's like, wow, it's gotta be intense. And every once in a while, like, I speak like that to my wife, like as a joke. And yeah, I find it funny. Not sure she always finds it funny, but I do. Uh, are there no social care? Why do you have to go for groceries? Why do you have to walk? Why can't ambulance bring you to your therapies? Ambulance rides in Canada, I think in the US it's the same, but you have to pay for it. So far, I've had to take the ambulance once when I passed out in the subway and convulsed, but they never sent me the bill, so I didn't have to pay for it. So I guess I kind of got lucky on that front. And yes, there are certain services, but they're kind of limited when it comes to that, unfortunately. So there are some options, like, twice a friend of mine who has a car, like, came and picked me up and went to do groceries, and, I'm grateful for that, but it's not like there's an easy system in place where they can just, like, take care of everything. Like, there are options that I could take advantage of that I haven't, but sometimes it's also it's like, as long as it's not too cold, I know it's good for me to go outside every once in a while. And it's like grocery store is about a kilometer and a half away. So as long as it's not too cold, it's like it's good for me to take a walk there and back. Even if it's like I walk very slowly, it's still kind of good for me. So it's like I don't want to, you know, lose the ability to do certain things. It's like, yeah, okay, sometimes it can help having people help you, but if you become too dependent, it's like you lose that. It's kind of like, oh, well, it's difficult for me to walk, so I'm going to stop walking. And then because I stop walking, I lose all my muscle mass. And then it's like when I need to walk, it's very difficult for me. So it's like it's important to, yes, respect yourself, but at the same time, like you need to make sure that you don't become lazy and it becomes detrimental to your health. So it's always kind of a balance for everything. Do you still go out socially or have you become a recluse? Probably the latter at this point, simply because most people are working, and that means we can only hang out in the evenings or the weekends. And unfortunately, in my situation, it seems like the later in the day that it gets, the more difficult it gets for me to breathe, and the more that I cough. So it's just like past, I'd say mid-afternoon, it just becomes very, very difficult for me to go out and do things. And especially when I have a conversation with someone, it's more difficult. When it's just me speaking like this as an example to the camera, it's not as bad. For some reason, when there's that interaction with other people, it's like you start, you stop, you start, you stop, you start, you stop. It just makes it more difficult. So it's different. As an example, a bunch of people, bunch of friends that I made back when I was in Toastmasters, organized a get together on Friday in 2 days. And, it's a dinner and it's at a restaurant, everything, everyone's getting together, and it's like at 6 p.m. And I'm just like, unfortunately, I can't because I know the breathing's going to be more intense at that time. I know the coughing is going to be more intense. And I know that in my current condition, I usually go to bed around 7, sometimes 8 o'clock. And with the travel time and everything, like it's just not possible for me to go. So as a result of that, even though I would love to go and catch up with all my friends, I can't given my current condition. Like there was a few options when we're voting to decide when to do it. I voted for Saturday during the day, that's not the option that won, so unfortunately, I can't go. It's just part of life. And, aside from that, from just, other friends like one-on-one going out doing stuff, well, just doing something more physical is more demanding for me. Just chilling at home or whatever, or going to a restaurant, something like, yeah, every once in a while I do, but I've just kind of taken the habit of just kind of staying home and relaxing. Um, so maybe it's not necessarily a good thing, but it's just like at the moment, it's not necessarily a bad thing either. So, yeah. And it's also because the winter, like, winter is like, I know it would be difficult. It has been difficult, especially with all the symptoms I've been having recently. It's just like easier. I'm kind of going in hibernation mode of like, hey, I'm staying home, I'm taking care of myself, eating as much as I can, trying to find ways to deal with the symptoms and everything, going to my medical appointments every once in a while, seeing a friend whenever I can. But most of the time, it's just like survive, make it through the winter. That's kind of the mindset that I'm in at the moment. All right, let's. So smart to realize that having negative people, family or not, it's just healthy. Yeah, unfortunately, that's the way it is. You and I are in the same boat. Negativity just drags you down and takes so much energy. Smart man, yeah. Unfortunately, that's the thing. It's like for a long time, I would put other people, their well-being, their desires before me, and it just got to the point where it's like, okay, it's not good for me to do that, and I was aware of it, but I still kind of did it. And now that it's like I'm literally fighting for my life, I cannot afford to have negative people in my life. And it's like at this point, I'm at the point where it's like, let's say I'm at a party or whatever, and this person strikes up a conversation with me, and they're just talking about something that I have no interest in, and they're just like, trying to force their opinion onto me. I'd just be like, I'd literally just turn around and walk away. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you're a waste of my time. I don't want to spend any time on you. Not to be disrespectful, just to be like, I do not have time for this. Life is too precious to waste on people who are not a good fit for you. It's no judgment against them. It's just like with my mother, we're such different people. Why try to force a relationship there? In the past, I tried to date it with my mother and other people just because like it's the polite thing to do, but it's like, nah, I can't deal with that anymore. Hello. Someone said hello, so hello. An ambulance is for serious medical conditions to take an individual to the hospital, not to pick up groceries and take you back and forth to your therapies. Yep, that's pretty much how it works. But I still understand what they were saying. Like, are there services or systems set up to help you do stuff like that? When is your birthday? In April. So it's just funny because I was talking about that recently to someone, and since I was born end of April, I'm a Taurus, and I don't really necessarily believe in all those things, but it's just kind of fun to joke about. But Taurus, like basically, it's like you're very strong-willed, you're stubborn, and my name Guillaume means casque de volonté, which basically means strong-willed. So it's like I'm doubly stubborn because of my name and because of when I was born. And honestly, I think it's helped me a lot dealing with my current situation. Not to say it's like, oh, that's what's going to cure me, but it's like me being stubborn and refusing to give up will keep me alive long enough for God to do whatever He's meant to do. Whether that is to save me and cure me, or to let me die having learned and having had the impact that I was meant to have. Okay, so someone from Portugal, and I'm sorry, I went to Brazil when I was young, so I did learn a little Portuguese, but that was a very, very long time ago, so I'm not even going to try to pronounce what you said, but I understand the gist of it. So, benediction, or sorry, wow, too many languages going on in my head right now. Blessings from Portugal for me and my family. Thank you very much. Ah, hello from the Czech Republic. Well, hello. I watch your journey and I wish you good luck. Thank you. Much appreciated. Am I vegan or vegetarian? Vegetarian. I used to, like, my best friend back when I was young, him and his family were vegans, And it's like they were like the stereotypical vegans of like, super skinny and like they looked unhealthy. Not to say that all vegans are like that, obviously not. But it's just like it was funny to me because like that's kind of like the stereotype that people who eat meat have of vegans, and it's like they were that exact stereotype. Like they weren't the type to go around like try to convince other people that eating meat is wrong and that they should be vegan. But aside from that, they were exactly the vegan stereotype. You suffer so much. Why on earth do you additionally suffer by thinking of your wife being so sad? If something happens to you at the end of the day, um, you're alone in pain, no one else. Okay. Don't really have anything to say to that, but okay, cool. I want to live to 100. Absolutely. That has also always been the number in my head. To me, it's like whenever someone asks me, like, hey, how old do you think you'll live? It's always been like 100. That's always been it. And it's like my great grandmother lived to be 102 or 3. I always forget. I always forget it was 102 or 103. But anyway, she made it past 100, so it's definitely possible. It's happened in the family before, and it can happen again. Hello, are you scared for living with cancer? Nope. Never been scared. That's the thing. It's like, because of what I've gone through in my life, I've had 2 near-death experiences before I was diagnosed. So it's like death does not scare me. And at this point, I've had periods where I've suffered very intensely, and it's like I wish that death was an option. I'm not the type of person who commits suicide. I would never do that. So it's not an option. But there were periods where I wished that I could die because it would put an end to the suffering. So it's like, I'm not afraid to die. Okay, sorry, it seemed to lag out for a second, but we seem to be back. So what I was saying is I'm not afraid of death because I've had a few near-death experiences. And, you know, I've had periods where it's so intense that I wish I could die because it would have been a relief. So it's like, I'm not afraid of death. And if it's meant to happen at this point, it's like, if it's meant to happen, it's what's meant to happen. And it's just going to end my suffering. Not that I'm suffering that much, like there are intense periods, but overall it's not that bad. It could be much, much worse. So it's like death does not scare me. It hasn't been an issue for me for a very, very long time. What I was going to say it scares me, but it doesn't scare me because that's the thing. I make sure to live my life in such a way that I'll never have regrets. So I know that no matter what happens, whether I live, whether I die, whether I suffer, whether I'm happy, it doesn't really matter because I'm living the life that I'm meant to live. I'm doing what it feels right to me inside. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. It's like, yes, I'm a positive person. Yes, I believe I will be cured. Yes, I believe I will live to be 100. But if that's not what's meant to happen, that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm not afraid of death. Okay, so that person says I am. Hey, it's normal. Like, fear of death is a very, very common fear. In fact, well, it doesn't really prove my point, but it just made me think of that. They did a research like a while back, and they were asking people like, "What's your biggest fear?" And then they would rank the fears in order as a result of what people said. And number one, surprisingly, was not death; it was fear of public speaking. And then number two was death. So I don't know. I always found that funny, and obviously it's ridiculous. It's like no one who is put in that situation where they have to choose between dying and speaking in public would choose death over public speaking. It's just such a fear for so many people that that's their default response. What scares you the most? Oh, it's public speaking. So I just found that funny. So it doesn't really prove my point, but yeah, it's just like, the need, the urge to survive is a primal need. It's part of every human. It's normal. It's just the society we live in and the experiences I've had has made it so that I'm not afraid to death. Obviously, if I'm faced with death in the moment, I'm going to try to avoid it. The adrenaline's going to pump. I might be afraid in the moment, but it's like, in a general sense, I do not fear death. I enjoy living. I'm going to try to live for as long as I can, but I know I'm going to die eventually, and I'm okay with that. In fact, I think death is a very good thing because without death, you don't get to enjoy life and make the most of it because if you get to live forever and you know that, then you're like, well, what's the point of doing anything? There's no motivation to do anything. Whereas if you know at some point you will die and you never know when that's going to happen, well, then you want to make the most of life. You want to enjoy every moment. So I believe death is a very good thing. Why don't you go to media, TV? Uh, Oprah, the lady who helps also financially, not just YouTube. No one should make a sick man sad. You deserve to be happy with your wife and be with her. I mean, I'm done trying to force things at this point. Not to say like, oh, I give up, I'm gonna let myself die, just in the sense of like, I don't want to try to force things. Everything that's meant to happen will happen. So if I'm meant to share my story on, a podcast or on TV or in a journal or whatever, it's like, it's gonna happen. Things are gonna fall into place and it's gonna happen. So I'm not worried about that. Like, there's been a lot of things that, you know, you can call it a coincidence if you want, but it's like something, it's like so many things had to fall into place for that thing to happen that it was destined to happen. There was no way it could not happen. And it's the same thing for that. So it's like, if that's what's meant to be, that's what's meant to be. For now, it feels right to share on YouTube. That's what I'm doing. If ever it's meant to be something more, then that's what's going to be. The scariest thing going through cancer isn't the cancer itself. It's chemo and the long battle of being ill to get past it. Absolutely. Personally, I haven't had chemo. I've been very lucky on that front, or unlucky, depending on how you look at it, because the way that it was presented to me when I was first diagnosed is chemo is not an option. If you do chemo, you will die 100% guaranteed. Your only option is immunotherapy, and the symptoms, the side effects of that are much less intense than chemo. So I've been lucky on that front, but yes, the battle and the symptoms and the suffering and everything you go through as a result of the cancer is so much worse than the cancer itself. I absolutely agree with that. But at the same time, it's all that struggle, all that hardship, all the things that you go through that allow you to grow and evolve and learn whatever it is you're meant to learn from this illness. So it is much more intense, but at the same time, it's also much more valuable as a result of that. Thanks for answering. You got my point. How to best support friends who are suffering from cancer. Okay, cool. Oh, okay, so there must be a lot of comments because there seems to be a big delay between when I answer and when there's a response to that answer. So cool, let's keep going. It's getting kind of dark at the moment. I might have to turn on the light, but we'll see. For now, we're good. I have to tell you, my friend, I'm still laughing over the bidet video. Wishing you well. Glad you enjoyed that. I also thought it was a very funny story. That's why I shared it. In the moment, it wasn't exactly pleasant. I didn't laugh in the moment, but afterwards, yes, it's a very story. It's brought me a lot of joy. I'm very much an empath. I find a great deal of value in your videos. Your positivity, your strength is unbelievable to me. I check in on you every day just to make sure you're doing well. Okay, well, thank you very much. I very much appreciate that. And I do understand what you mean about being an empath. Like, I don't necessarily consider myself an empath, but I've become very, very good at sensing like the type of people I am dealing with. So it's like I can very, very quickly determine if you're the kind of person I'm going to get along with, or if not. And if not, I have nothing against you, but it's just like, yeah, okay, you're not my type of person. Peace, I'm out of here. So yeah, I do understand what you're saying on that front. I see people doing something called red light therapy, mostly women. I'm not familiar with it, but definitely something cool. I'll try to remember to look into that. Thank you. Ooh, hi from Kentucky. I considered making like a joke about fried chicken, but I'm like, I'm a vegetarian. I'll probably just end up offending someone by accident, so let's just not make it. I'm not trying to be a troll, but love does not work at a distance. I live isolated, and my wife literally looks at me as I'm trash. There's no more love. Disease is the worst thing that can happen. I didn't see that as you trolling. I'm sorry you were going through that. And I do agree, long distance relationships do not work. This is a temporarily long distance relationship. If there was no way for us to be together in the future, we would not be in this relationship. I 100% agree. Long distance does not work. Only for temporary periods when the situation forces you to be in that. Okay, so I feel like it just skipped ahead and hold on, let me just find my place. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so it seems like it skipped all the way to the end of the comments. Now I have to scroll back up to wherever I was before. So let's hope I can find it. Just give me a couple seconds here while I go back and look. Wow, there seems to be a lot of comments. We'll be here a while. Okay, I think I found it. Nope, okay. Hold on. I thought I found it. We'll get there, we'll get there. Let's not give up. Everything will be good. Alright, let's go, let's find the comments. It's just funny because I know it has no relation to do with that, but as I'm scrolling through the comments, I just saw someone saying, ciao. So it's like, oh, well, you lost your place, like, peace, I'm out of here. Like, I know that's not what it is, I just thought it was funny. Ah, there's a lot of comments. It's so hard to find my place where I was. But I'm not gonna give up, we'll do it. Oh, okay, I think I found it. Yes, okay, I found it. Oh, cool. So someone donated also money, $9.99. So I don't know if that's Canadian or US, but either way, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I don't know if you want to be, called out or not, but doesn't matter. I'm doing it anyway. So sorry if you wanted to remain anonymous. So thank you, Marine Vet Mom. I very much appreciate it. And you said, you rock, get yourself a pie on me. Nice. I love that. Pumpkin pie? Is that the joke you were making or not? Either way, I like it. Love your episode. Well, thank you very much. I very much appreciate it. I appreciate the donation. And, hopefully I didn't put you on the spot by calling you out in front of everyone, but I appreciate it. Lacto-ovo vegetarian. Spelling? Not sure on the exact spelling, but seems good to me. Go ice cream! Oh, I love it. Yep. Ice cream can be good, although like when it's freezing outside, I just tend to don't really not really have a craving for ice cream, but yes, good quality ice cream can be very delicious. Woken up to this, greeting from Brisbane. Oh wow. Wish you recovery. Thank you very much. And if I woke you, sorry about that. I think you meant more like you woke up and then you saw that I was live, so that's how I'm going to take it. So hopefully I didn't wake you, but thank you. What language apart from French and Spanish do you speak? Well, obviously English because I'm speaking it, so that's the three. So I grew up speaking English and French, and recently, for the last couple of years, I've been learning Spanish because I was traveling through Latin America for a while, and then I met my wife who speaks Spanish. So at the moment, just those three. Well, I like to joke and say like 2.5, so 2.5 to 3. I've already heard like 7 cancer puns today. If I hear tumor, oh, nice. Okay. Let me read this correctly. I've already heard like 7 cancer puns today. If I hear 2 more, it's gonna be, oh, it's good. There's 2 in it. It's gonna be 9. Nice. I love that. Ooh. By the way, in case you can tell, I love puns. I make them every once in a while, but if you have some, feel free to throw them at me. I love puns. That one was a little hard to read because I wasn't expecting it to be a pun, and then I realized it was a pun, so I'm like, okay, no, let me do this right. Qué alegría saber que has aceptado al Señor en tu vida, que Él te cuide y te guide en este viaje. So she's saying that it's good that I have accepted God into my life, that He's going to guide me and take care of me during this trip. Well, this journey. Glad to catch you live. Glad that you're able to make it. Hi, just want to let you know that you're in my prayers. Much love. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Have I heard of Pascal's wager? Not sure how to pronounce that, but no, I have not. Is that a person or is it like a thing? Not really sure, but nope, I'm not familiar with them or it. I pray that God would totally heal you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I also hope the same. Guillaume, you're always in my prayers. Thank you. By the way, I know my name is difficult to spell, but it's with A-U, not O. I'm not blaming you. Don't worry. I'm not offended. I just thought I'd mention it. It is very difficult for English-speaking people to spell it and to pronounce it. So no worries on that front. That's why a lot of people in the comments who don't speak French just end up calling me G because it's easier for them. So it's cool. You know, there's good things about G, like, you know, God, G spot. G's good. Could be much worse. Hi G, love and positive vibe from Windsor, Ontario. Oh, thank you, fellow Canadian. I love watching you. You're so inspiring and funny. I try to be. I find myself funny. Not everybody agrees, but I'm glad you do. I've been watching you for about 7 months or so now. Keep up the positive work. Thank you very much. Thank you for following and subscribing, and I'm glad I can provide value. 3 hearts and 3 prayer hands. Well, thank you very much. I will definitely take them. Oh, someone else from Romania. Introvert here, always in the background, leaving this message is stepping out of my comfort zone. LOL, love you, love from New Jersey, wishing you all the best. Well, congratulations on stepping out of your comfort zone. I personally know how difficult that can be, and I think it's important to congratulate you on that. I'm very proud of you. Thank you for taking the time to comment. Hello from Chicago. Message in a language that I do not speak, so I have no idea what it says, but I'm sure it was very nice. Wishing you all the best from Germany. Oh, there seem to be a couple of people from Germany here today. Another comment in a language I do not speak. Seems kind of like German, not quite sure. I won't try to pronounce it, don't worry. Why is your wedding ring on your right hand? It's not, it's my left. It might just be switched because the video, sometimes it's like flipped. So that might be why, but it's on my left hand. Greeting and well wishes from Latvia. Ooh, nice. A lot of people from Europe here, it seems. High vibe and greetings. Not quite sure what that means, but cool. I get the gist of it. So greetings to you too. Ah, and we're back to the person who said ciao. I don't know if it's ciao hello or ciao goodbye, but ciao. Okay, so Fenben Ivor is supposed to be a game changer. Yeah, that's what some people said, definitely. Hi, Tina. So Vibe says hi to Tina, in case you missed the message. You have to deal with health already. Why do you have to deal with financial issues? Go to TV, news, interview, YouTube donations are not enough, obviously. Are you sure they will? I'm sure they will help. Humanity exists. Hey, I mean, I agree with you. Donations are definitely not enough. I do appreciate every single one of them, but it's not like I can depend on that to support myself. I've been lucky so far. For 6 months, I've been able to have this short-term disability. I'm not eligible for long-term disability because it was a pre-existing condition when I started the work. But for the last 4 months, approximately, I've been on employment insurance, and that's going to last a couple more months. So once that ends, then it might be a little more tricky, more difficult. But, you know, I have faith that whatever's meant to happen is going to happen. Like, I don't want to try to force things. Plus, I don't know how I would go about it. Like, how do you get on TV? How do you get on the news? How do you get on podcasts? Like, unless they're just like random little podcasts or something like that, it's like, I don't know how to go about doing that. It feels like you would kind of need like a publicist or an agent to take care of that. I don't have one, so I mean, if anyone knows how that process works, please let me know. But it's not something that I have the time or the energy to really like focus in and try to figure out and try to like force to happen. It's just like if it's meant to happen, it will happen somehow. But if anyone knows anything about that, please let me know. You need animal fat, man, to get some strength back. Uh, veg, I'm assuming vegetarian. Vegetarians have nothing. It's not just about calories, also about nutrients. I respect your opinion. Some people are doing very well on the carnivore diet, but other people have also been doing very well on strictly fruit and vegetable diet. So it's not like there's one solution that fits all. I think everyone is different, and as long as you do what you feel is right, everything's going to be okay. You should be helped in everything, so you don't have to do anything. Yes and no. I mean, I think it's good to be self-sufficient. Obviously, like, it's also good to receive help, and I'm always grateful for that. But I don't want to get to the point where I'm just like so dependent on everyone for everything that I can't take care of myself, and then it's like, I kind of that becomes my way of life. It's like yes, I am surrendering and I appreciate help and support whenever I get it, but I find like it's also important for me to take care of myself and to feel like I can still be, independent like an individual rather than just being someone who just depends on everyone else for everything. But I do understand what you were saying and I appreciate it. God bless this man. Sending love from England. Thank you very much. Good to see you. Good to see you too. Okay, I'm home from work now. I'll go back later and watch this in full. Sounds good. Oh, and I'm so thankful for all that have donated to you. God will bless them, absolutely. I'm very grateful to them too. And I also do believe that, God blesses everyone. Or, not God if you believe in the universe or believe in something different, whatever it is. Like, as long as you're a good person, good things will happen. How to describe it? Tubes in your nose to give extra oxygen so it will help you breathe. Oxygen tank, you carry it everywhere like the drivers. Yes, yeah, I definitely seen people do it. It's just something I'm trying to avoid as much as I can because it just feels like once you get to that point, it's very difficult to come back from that. So, until it becomes necessary to get there, I'm going to avoid that. Simple. That's my decision. But I have nothing against it, and I know it could potentially help, and maybe one day we'll feel right. Hello, you live my biggest fear without fear. Watching cancer gives me anxiety. How do you handle all that psychologically? That's the thing. I've done a lot of work on myself. I've read a lot of self-help books, personal development, taken courses, done like so many things, challenged myself so much. And all of that process really prepared me for this. And that's why in the beginning, when I was first diagnosed, there was this point when I realized two things. First of all, my last name is Sauvé, which means saved. So it's like, I've been saved since I was born. And second of all, it's like, everything I've been doing, especially in the last few years before I was diagnosed, really prepared me for this, which is the most extreme challenge I've ever experienced in my life. So it's like, I would like to say like, oh, I'm special, I'm unique, I'm the best, but it's like, I had to do a lot of work on myself to get here, and everything happened exactly the way that it did. Like, I always felt the need to do all those things, to challenge myself, to step out of my comfort zone, to fall in love with fear. I didn't know why, and then I was diagnosed, and I'm like, oh, okay, now I understand why. And that's why that I believe in destiny, and that's why that, now I believe in God. I believe that whatever destiny He has chosen for me, it's exactly what's meant to happen, because if I look back at my life, everything has prepared me for this. My near-death experiences has removed that fear of death for me. All the challenges I put myself through have made me understand and made me capable of dealing with very difficult situations. And I don't think I would have been able to deal with everything I'm dealing at the moment without having gone through all those things. So that's why I believe everything happens for a reason. I'm very grateful for that. Ooh, another person. Wait, hello from, oh, I thought it said Canada, but no. Canaria? I'm not quite sure what that is, but they're speaking Spanish, so. Uh, Hola. I don't know what that is. Canarian. I don't know. Is it Canary Islands? Do they speak Spanish there? I don't know. But thank you very much. Thank you for being here. So the reason I brought up that story about the bad date is because you were talking about how you kind of got over shyness. Ah, okay. Then I thought, yeah, not allowing people to walk on you anymore. Absolutely. Okay, that makes sense. Plus, people who didn't go that far back and watch that video now got a chance to know the story. Did you get cancer after vaccination? Yes, but I do not believe that it was due to that because I was diagnosed after getting the vaccine. But what initially caused it started way before that. You're not depressed by your health issues? That's a question. Sorry, are you not depressed by your health issues? Are you okay with your pain? Guillaume, I saw your videos. By the way, congratulations on spelling my name properly. You just said cancer is torture. You should be in no pain at all. Doctors should be able to help. It goes through different phases. There are periods where it's very difficult. There are periods where it's much better. It varies, and it's like, I do what I can in the moment to make the most of this situation. But the last thing I want is to be drugged out of my mind and have absolutely no pain and not get to experience this. So it's like, obviously, I don't want to be in constant suffering, but I also don't want to medicate myself to the point where I don't get to experience what I meant to experience as a result of this, because I believe that I got this cancer for a reason. It's meant to teach me something, and I want to make sure I learn that lesson, because if I don't, cancer is just going to stay until I do. And after a certain point, my body's just going to give out. And if I don't learn the lesson by then, well, I'm just going to die. So it's like I always try to find that balance between not suffering too much while still being able to experience everything I need to experience from this cancer, from this journey that I'm going through. Have you ever tried any diaphragmatic breathing before? I've done the Wim Hof method, and I love it. And it has helped in the past. It's just now, because the breathing issues are so intense, I'm not able to do it, unfortunately. But yes, I've experimented with that in the past. Greetings from Poland. Ah, nice. Hello from Canada. For a second, I hesitated there because I'm like, there's been like so many countries in the different comments that I'm like, wait, I'm in Canada, right? Yeah, okay, we're good. I'm pretty sure that's how I sound when I speak in German. And I had German classes all through high school and college. So I'm assuming that's in reference to what I was saying before about like how sometimes like some people speak perfect Spanish in the sense it's like they know all the words, but their accent is just horrible. It's kind of like, French Canadian people who speak English, it's like they speak all the words, but they speak with an accent. It's like, as a French Canadian, I'm able to do that accent. So like, let me do it for a bit. So it would be like this, they speak the words normally, but the accent is different. And because of that, it sounds weird to people when you speak that way. So it's kind of like that, but in Spanish. So. Saludo desde Gran Canaria. Once again, not quite sure what that is, but definitely somewhere where they speak Spanish. Hola, ¿cómo estás? How did you learn Spanish? Couple different ways. First of all, I've been using the app Duolingo ever since I started traveling. So it's been, I forget exactly how many years, but there's a streak in the app. So it's like if you practice every day, you get a streak. And as long as you don't miss any days, like the streak continues. And at this point, I'm like past 1,000 days. So it's definitely been a couple of years. So that's helped a lot. I don't practice that much more in the beginning. Now I pretty much just do like one lesson per day. But that definitely helps. The other thing is when I was traveling, just traveling and having to interact with people, being in situations where I had to express myself in Spanish, even though I kind of sucked at it, especially dating. Dating helped a lot because like You're literally sitting there with the person. You have to communicate. You don't speak the same language. You find a way to communicate. It just puts you on the spot and you don't have a choice. That helped a lot. And of course, dating and then getting married to my wife also helps. Every day we communicate in Spanish. And I still think that I suck. I'm much better than I was before. But, I feel like I still have a long way to go before I'm fluent in Spanish. But yeah, it's been kind of a mix of a bunch of different things. Okay, uh, it says, hope you can beat this, love from Sweden. Ah, okay. So I'm assuming that was a comment that was in a different language that I couldn't speak before, which I now assume is Swedish. So thank you very much for translating. How do you spend your time other than appointments and YouTube videos? Do you play video games or read or watch TV? Do you have any hobbies to focus on? All right, so first of all, let me just point out, I don't spend that much time on YouTube videos. The creation process is usually me just, figure out, okay, what am I going to talk about today? Do I have something to talk about? If I do, which I often do, I just start recording, share the story, share whatever I have to share, improvise. Sometimes I make mistakes. Every once in a while, if I like completely screw it up, I'll restart the video, but that's very, very rarely. It's maybe like 1 to 2% of the time. The rest of the time is me just talking and sharing whatever I feel the need to share. And because I don't do any editing, because I don't have to prepare in advance, because I don't have a script, it's literally just like press record, talk when I'm done, and the video. And then sometimes I recorded the day before, sometimes the day of, it varies. Let's say it's the day before, well then I just upload the video to YouTube, copy and paste the description from the previous video, change the portion of the description that actually describes what the video is about, and then publish it. And then once it's published, I go ahead in the YouTube app and activate the monetization. And that whole process, I would say, takes roughly half an hour. So don't actually spend that much time on YouTube videos. When I did read all the comments, that took up a lot more time. Now that it's kind of become overwhelming and I just can't really afford to do that anymore, it's not that much. So I don't spend that much time on YouTube videos. Medical appointments, sometimes there's a few packed in a week, but on average, my treatments are every 3 weeks. And usually I have 2 appointments that week. I have my blood test followed by a meeting with my oncologist, and then I have the treatment usually 2 days later. And then every once in a while, it's like, oh, there's a scan for this, a scan for that, a meeting with that doctor or this doctor. But, overall, it's not that much. Aside from that, I mostly watch TV. I used to play video games a long time ago. I stopped, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, just because I didn't really enjoy it anymore. So I just ended up stopping. I used to read a lot and write, of course. But since I started traveling, I kind of pretty much almost stopped completely. It's just because, I don't know, it's so much has been going on lately. When I was traveling, I was busy all the time. Now that I've been diagnosed, it's that takes up a lot of my time and energy, and having to force myself to eat, and the appointments and the YouTube channel and stuff. It's not that much time-wise, but it still takes up a lot of my focus and energy. So it's kind of I don't really have the time that much to read. And at this point, it's just easier for me to just kind of chill and watch TV. When it's not winter, I also do enjoy going for a walk at the park, being in nature, relaxing, being outside. And I did some meditation, but inside it always feels weird. To me, it always feels better when I go outside and meditate outside. And since it's winter, I don't want to freeze to death, so I've kind of stopped doing that. But yeah, mostly a lot of watching TV and then just forcing myself to eat, recording videos, going to appointments, every once in a while hanging out with friends, going grocery shopping, basic, boring, everyday stuff, really. Oh my God, Canada sucks. In Vienna, you get all services for free in your circumstances. Come here. I mean, most of the things here are free. Healthcare is free. There's a few exceptions, obviously. But most things are free, most things are covered. There are certain services that are offered. But it really depends on your situation. It seems like for extreme situations like cancer and stuff like that, I was surprised that there weren't that many things in place to help people. But aside from that, like healthcare in Canada is relatively good. Like it could be much, much worse. But yes, it's very possible that in Vienna it's much better. Someone else retracted their messages. I'm always curious, like, what could you have said that was bad enough for you to want to erase that message? All right, it's starting to get dark, so just give me like 10 seconds and we're gonna run over and turn on the light. Or actually, maybe let's turn this one on. There we go. Making me look super tired, but I've always had eye bags, so it's all good. All right, moving on. So just hopping on, why is everyone worried? What did I miss? I don't know, I guess it's human nature to be worried. I don't think you really missed anything specific. And I dropped the pen I've been playing with the whole time. Have you tried simmering a pot of water on the stove or a humidifier fire to put some moisture in the air to help you breathe easier? Yes. I already mentioned this before. I have 3 humidifiers, 1 in each room, and I just ordered a new, more powerful one for my bedroom because that definitely does seem to help at night. How's your day routine? How do I pass the time? Do you believe in paradise? So I've already answered the first 2 questions. The third one, I do not believe in heaven and hell specifically. I honestly have no idea what happens when you die. And I really don't want to know simply because, well, first of all, there's no way of knowing for sure what happens until you die. The only way to know for certain is dying. And we're all going to die someday, so we're all going to find out someday. So to me, it just doesn't make sense to invest time and energy into trying to figure out what that is when I'm going to discover it someday. And the second reason is because I kind of want to be surprised. Either way, I'm going to live the best life that I can. If there is a heaven and a hell, I do hope and believe that it'll go to heaven. If not, whatever's meant to happen will happen. So I do not specifically believe in paradise. I just don't really know what comes after death. All right. It's weird, man. I have Lyme disease and I suffocate worse than you. It sucks. Yep, it definitely sucks. Like, obviously, I don't know what your experience is, but any type of breathing issues definitely sucks. Like, I've had asthma, now with the cancer in my lungs and everything, it's like I've become pretty well versed when it comes to breathing issues. And there have been moments where it's like the breathing is so intense and so difficult that you're like, I just wish I would fucking die already, you know? So it's like, I get what you're going through, and I'm sorry you have to go through that. You have such a wonderful sense of humor, even while suffering. Well, thank you. To be fair, I may not have that much of a sense of humor when I'm really suffering, like in the moment when I'm like in pain and it sucks. Like there are moments where I'm just like, yeah, okay, this sucks. But overall, yeah, I try to have a sense of humor about it just because life is more fun when you have a sense of humor, whether you're, going through something difficult or not. Have you heard of idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis? No, I have not. I have no idea what that is. Someone else that apparently doesn't know, they were asking what it is. I'm fighting cancer without oncologist. All right, that's definitely a way to go. Like because I'm married and it's not just like I need to consider my wife also when making decisions. I've never considered, dealing with this by myself. But if I was alone, maybe I would. Like I'm the type of person who, if I wasn't married, I might just decide, you know what? Let's just, get rid of everything, go to a monastery and live as a monk and just see what happens, So I do understand why some people choose to not have an oncologist, and I respect that. So by news, podcast, Oprah, I mean, they could help you with money and even bring your wife to you. We, your YouTube family, can also start a petition to help you with all that. hey, I mean, if you wanted to help, do whatever you want to do. I appreciate it. Go right ahead. I don't know the exact process of these types of things. I don't know how to do it, so I can't do it. But, if someone else wants to do that, to take the lead, or has any connections in any of those areas, or knows how it works, I'm definitely open to that. I do a lot. All right, awesome. Don't know what that means, but congratulations for doing a lot. How do you feel about Trudeau's resignation? Oh, okay, Trudeau. Okay. How do you feel about Trudeau's resignation? I have absolutely no interest in politics. I just felt, to me, it's always been a waste of time. My perspective has always been it doesn't matter who gets elected. It's politics. It's a bunch of bullshit. It won't change anything. I have never voted in my life. I don't think I ever will. I have no opinion when it comes to Trudeau or any other types of politics, really. So that might have been a disappointing answer, but that's my opinion. What is my cancer? It's called alveolar soft part sarcoma. Do you have issues with your gut? I don't think so. I mean, things can change, so maybe, but not that I'm aware of, and I've always pretty much have had very good health or gut health in the past, so I'm assuming it's still the same. Panama and Greenland better be getting bills of sales ready. I'm getting my sons ready to enlist. Okay, not quite sure what that was in reference to, but okay. Maybe it was the comment I made about taxes before. That might be it. Root beer floats, yummy. Makes ice cream tastier. Maybe this will insult you, maybe not, but I've never in my entire life had a root beer float. Maybe it's absolutely delicious. I've just never had an opportunity to have one. So, yep, I'm an ice cream, or sorry, I'm a root beer float virgin. Yep. Pink hand to you too. I don't know, someone commented an emoji with pink hand, so. Did you have any additional noise issues after that one incident? I've been waiting for an update. Nope. It seems like me going to speak to the neighbors scared them enough that since then they've been very quiet. I still don't know who it was because there's no way to know for sure because some people said it came from there, some people said it came from there. I don't know the truth, but so far it hasn't been an issue again. So all good on that front. Thank you for asking. All right, Guillaume, what will you do if all gets worse? How will you handle it? Do you have any plan? Like more tumors, more pain? I do not have a plan because there's no way to plan for the unknown. There is no way to know what will or will not happen. All I can do is just make the most of every moment, do the best that I can in every moment, do what feels right in every moment. And whenever something new happens, I deal with it then. So no, I don't really have a plan for if this specific thing happens. Earlier, when you spoke of your mom, she honestly sounds selfish and uncommonly selfish. That's a lot of selfish. I mean, you came out of her loins. Hey, I mean, I don't blame her. We all have to go through what we have to go through. That's the journey she chose. But I also, on the other hand, don't feel bad for her. Some people are like, oh, she's your mom, like you should forgive her and blah, blah, blah. It's like, I have forgiven her. I have no resentment. But, I'm also not going to, play along or feel bad for her. It's like, hey, she rejected me as her son. She said I was no longer her son. Took me a long time to accept it. I've accepted it. I won't feel bad because she's now reaping the rewards of what she sowed. So, I'm not angry at her. I've become who I am because of her, some good things, some bad things. And I believe, whatever's meant to happen is exactly what's happening. So that's what was meant to happen. I try not to have judgment. But yeah, I do agree that from a neutral perspective, what she did would mostly be considered selfish. Are you vaccinated with Fauci Myrna? I'm not quite sure what that is. I'm assuming it's referring to the COVID vaccine, I already covered that before, so no need to go back into that. Someone says hi, so hi! How did you handle COVID? Like everyone else, the best way that I could. It's funny because right when COVID hit, like the first few months I was living with roommates, and then my roommate, like one of them was just some like random guy who just moved in with us because we needed a roommate when our other roommate and friend moved out the year before. And you know, he was a fine guy. I have nothing against him. He's just we didn't really become friends. And the other one, who's my best friend and was at the time too, met his girlfriend and they were moving in together. So I'm like, I don't want to stay there with this other guy who I don't really have that much in common with. And I've never lived alone. I feel like it's time. So a couple months after COVID hit, moved into my apartment by myself. And then lockdowns happen and I'm like downtown Montreal. And it's like I look outside my window, it's like streets are deserted because after 8 p.m. it's like no one allowed outside and it was just such a weird experience. And you know, at the time obviously wasn't traveling, I wasn't diagnosed yet. I was focusing, really on getting my coaching business started and everything. And I was doing like live during the pandemic and everything. So, I found ways to keep myself busy. I'd go out for runs during the day and do what I had to do. So, I think it's like most people, we just handled it the best way that we could. I guess in a way, like being forced to be isolated and forced to be alone kind of prepared me for what I'm going through now. So, I guess it was a good thing. Sending big hugs and lots of love from Labrador, Canada. Well, thank you very much. Much appreciated from Quebec, Canada. You are so friendly and nice. Oh, well, thank you. I'm Canadian. I don't have a choice. It's illegal for me to not be nice. No, I'm kidding. It's just because that's the stereotype of Canadians. I want you to recover so badly. Do you know our soul is eternal? It's just our bodies that die. Will stay next to yourself, and you feel like yourself, but without pain. I don't know. Maybe reincarnation is real. Maybe it's not. Like I said before, it's kind of like death. What happens after? I don't know. I don't care. I'm looking forward to finding out whenever that happens. I'm just making the most of life while I can. Why are my eyes solid black like a cartoon character? I think it's the lighting. I mean, I also have brown eyes, so whenever it's not very bright, it just seems like my eyes are just dark and like black. But yeah, my eyes are brown, my pupils are black, but I see why it might look like that. A relative then comes and you will say, I'm not dead because you will feel exactly as always. Then this person will say, move your pinky and you will try so hard, but you won't be able to. Then, yeah, and it cuts out. Oh, okay, I think it continues after. Then your body. I'm assuming it's a continuation of what the person was saying before about reincarnation. Um, then you will linger for days next to you, next to your body. Okay, so it's like a comment that keeps going in multiple different comments. I'm trying to piece it together until you accept it. Then you will be taken to a place which is so colorful, none of them exist on Earth. Then you, by you, I mean humans, will see the Earth and people. You will say your loved one, say your loved. I'm sorry, there's just like it's intercut so much, it's difficult to follow what it's saying. So, all right, there seems to be one last one in the series, so let me just finish it. It's not who is dead, you are. It's not me who is dead, you are. I'm sorry. This is very confusing because of everything intercut. Like, it's very difficult for me to understand, so I'm just gonna move on to the next comment. Have you ever done a British accent before? I've tried to. I feel like if I do it, it'll just be offensive. But that's the thing. It's like when I do accents, I'm able to, but only for a couple words, and then it kind of deteriorates and I stop being able to do it. So it's like there's a few accents that I can do. It's like British I can do a bit for a while, and then Indian I can do a bit for a while. Obviously French Canadian. I don't know if I can do. I don't know how I would do the Spanish accent in English. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like for British, it's just like a couple words like bloody hell. Like, from watching like Harry Potter or whatever, there's a few phrases that I can say, but I'm not very good at accents. I wish I were, but I just never took the time to really develop that skill. Good to see you. Well, good to see you too. Thank you for being here. Or we're here because there's a lot of comments. I'm not sure if you're still here, but still good to see you. Hi, I made a live finally. Yes, congratulations. I really look forward to your videos. Thank you for keeping us updated. My pleasure. Glad you enjoyed. You say you've done Duolingo in the past. I am on Duolingo at the moment. I am on, ooh, wow, 1,807 day streak, soon to be 1,808. Wow, that's impressive. That's more than me. I don't remember exactly. It's like 1,050, something like that. So you definitely got me beat, but congratulations. So 18, that's like over 3 years. Wow. I don't why your wife isn't allowed to visit you, so I guess I don't understand why your wife isn't allowed to visit you. Is there any way anybody can help? I've tried everything that I could. At this point, it's just a question of waiting and hoping. So that's what we're doing. What does my wife do? She is self-employed. She's working as a stylist. So anything to do with hair, whether it's cutting or coloring or keratin or any other types of treatments like that, pretty much like any type of hair care, that's what she does. How do you handle being alone and dealing with your cancer? The best way I can. I don't really know how to answer that because it's like anything in life. It's like, how do you handle it? Well, I do, you know? I just make the most of it. That is how you lose a nation. I have no idea what that's in reference to, but okay. Let's lose a nation. Ooh, someone else from Romania. Do you live in the French part of Canada? A lot of Romanians are in the French side. Yes, absolutely. In fact, one of my friends, my former roommate that I was talking about before, the one that left and then got replaced by someone who, never really became a friend, he is Romanian. And yes, we're in the French part of Canada, Montreal. Do I believe in reincarnation? Not specifically. It's not that I don't believe it, I just don't know what happens after death, and I'll find out whenever I die. Jesus Christ loved you and wants a relationship with you. Ask him into your heart, and I promise you it will change your life forever. God bless you. I love you, in Christ, sorry. Okay. Personally, I believe in God. I have no opinion for or against Jesus. To me, I just don't consider him as God, but I respect people who do. My wife does. And yeah, so I don't think I will ever accept Jesus just because that's not what feels right to me, but that's okay. All right. Did you ever hear back from your former friend after you told him you were going to report him to the police? No, I did not, because after that I saw the messages were read, I deleted him and blocked him just because I never want to have anything to do with him, given what he did. So I don't know what's going to happen on that front. Maybe nothing, and even if it does, I might hear about it. Maybe I won't. I don't know. It's just like I finally did what I had to do and I've moved on. Hi from London. Well, thank you for joining us. Have you looked into atezolizumab? That is the immunotherapy that I've been on since I was diagnosed, and starting the 20th, I'm switching to a different kind. I don't yet know the name, but it's just another type of immunotherapy treatment. Hello. Hello to you. And I know we have a higher self. This provides the sorry. This provides the things we live on Earth, and the reason is the soul wants to explore, thus becoming nature. Okay. I appreciate you interacting so much and sharing your opinions. I just feel like, it might be a little intense for people if you just keep commenting and commenting and commenting all the time. Like the point of the live is for people to be able to ask questions and for me to answer them. Like, I appreciate you sharing your opinion. I just think it might be a little intense. So if you wouldn't mind maybe just like, scooching back at him, that would be nice. Thank you. Um, did you know our higher self chose our faith? I don't really know what to answer to that. What size shoe are you? Okay. That's a random one that I never got before. 10 and a half to 11, depending on the brand and the shoe itself. That was a very random one. I like that. Thank you. uh, well done, you, your former friend. You did the right thing. Oh, and there was an A at the end. Are you Canadian? I just say that because like that's a stereotype of Canadians. Like we say something, it's like, "How you doing, eh?" uh, all right. Hi from sunny Florida. I hope nothing but the best for you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I wish you the same thing. I agree. I'm not sure who you agree with, but already, I'm glad you agree. Hi from London. Okay, so I guess you're not Canadian. You're British. Okay. Ooh, it seems like I finally got to the end. All right, so I'll give you, a couple seconds if you have any last second questions to ask. Wow, it's been 2 hours and 46 minutes. I think this is the longest live we've done so far. So, yeah, you have a couple seconds left to ask questions. If there are no more questions, I'm just going to go ahead and end things here. But another comment just popped up. Just questions like, what's your shoe size? I just care about you. Okay, thank you. Fair enough. I appreciate that. Thank you for your time. Well, thank you for being here. I very much appreciate it. And it seems like we've gotten pretty much to the end. Are you tired? Want to rest? I mean, I don't know if you're speaking about now specifically or just in general. Yes, in general, like it's intense physically what I'm going through. So yes, I definitely need to rest. And a lot of the times I'm tired, especially near the end of the day. But now it's not so bad. Like I know that once the live ends, I'm gonna be like, and I'll be like able to relax, and it's kind of like gonna hit me, and I'll be more tired. But for some reason, like when it's alive, when I'm recording a video or something like that, I'm just kind of like on, and I don't really feel it. I think like that's why it's easier for me to speak, and I tend to have less breathing issues and less coughing when I do lives and videos. But yes, it definitely is, intense. Like you may not realize it, and I've been bumbling and sometimes I stumble over my words and stuff like that, but it's like it is pretty intense to have to speak non-stop for almost 3 hours. So yeah, it can get kind of tiring after a while. So let me just go back for the last few comments and questions that popped up, and then we'll end it. All right. So you're still looking good. Thank you very much. Thank you for the live and answering your questions. It was my pleasure. I absolutely love doing this. Sorry. I seem to have something in my throat, so it's probably good this is ending soon. I hope you can keep getting well and you can beat this cancer. I have breast cancer too. Bye. Thank you very much. I'm sorry to hear you have breast cancer. I wish you all the best of luck with that. I'm sure everything will work out for the best. Thank you and have a good day and night, everyone. Thank you to you. Thank you for being here. A bunch of emojis. So prayer, strong heart, and happy face with, well, I can't do the hearts all over it, but anyway, same to you. Since your diagnosis, have you done any swimming at all? Once, and it was very tiring because I've lost so much muscle mass and fat as well. It's like I'm not as buoyant as I used to be, so it's more work to stay afloat. Plus, I have like strength, so it's just like I enjoy swimming. I love swimming. I love being in the water. It's just a few times I've been swimming since then. It's just like I can't stay for long. Like I can go in the water if it's shallow. I can stay there for a bit. But it's like when swimming and I have to keep myself afloat, like it's difficult, so I can only do it for a couple minutes, unfortunately. Thank you for popping on. Thank you for being here. I hope you sleep well. No breathing issues, no pain, no coughing, no insomnia, just freedom. Thank you very much. I definitely hope the same for myself and for everyone else, of course. We love you. God bless you and keep fighting. Thank you very much, and I definitely will. Love from Indianapolis. Ooh, cool. Hello, I watch your videos on YouTube. I really admire your courage and I pray for you every day. Thank you very much. I'm from West Africa. Wow, nice. So you have a sister here. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You have a brother in Canada. Bye bye for now. Hugs and hugs. All right. Hugs to you too. You deserve all love on earth. No mother can leave this person. No way. Thank you very much. All right. So we got to the end. So thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for watching the videos, for commenting, for interacting on this live. If you're watching the replay, feel free to post questions. I'm going to come back in three days' times and answer all the questions for people who can attend live. So yeah, thank you for everything. I love you all, and I will keep making videos and probably annoying some people, even though I don't quite understand why. All right, so let me just read the last couple comments and then I'll end the live. Okay, so you deserve all love on earth. Okay, sorry, I already read that. So all mothers would be proud of you. Bye, see you soon. Bunch of hearts and prayer hands. So thank you very much. Have an awesome day, night, morning, evening, wherever you are. And we'll see each other in the next video. Bye. Ooh, I missed a button for all those of you who like that. That wasn't on purpose, but it seems fitting somehow.